I knew I was gonna get there. It's Tom. Where's he at? I told you. What's up, everybody? It's time. Who's ready, folks? Too bad I can't see without my glasses. His glasses. He can't see without his glasses. All right, we gotta figure out how can I do this and this? There we go. I can do this. What's up, everybody? There we go. There we go. Okay, yeah, I'll just have to hold it this way. He's really trying. No. This is making them so I gotta wear them. What are you talking about? Ah. What's up, everybody? Another 600. Good Lord, M. What is happening? Yeah. M, you spending all the money. M want to spend money on me? Want to spend money on me, M? It looks like a wig on top if I put it. Are we ready to discuss this Tamlin man? I hear he's a pretty good guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I hear he might be an okay guy. I don't know. I don't know really. It was a joke. It's a joke. Just joking. Oh, thank you. For the tomatoes. I see your tomatoes on me. No, why are you throwing tomatoes on me? That's not very nice. Oh. Right? Tamlin's the best. Tamlin is a good, he's misunderstood, right? That's what we're going to go with, right? Right? That's what we're, right, guys? Right? Listen. I've seen some weird stances today of people like, okay, I'm just saying. It's a stance. Okay, listen, let me explain something. Okay, I already took my stance with that man. Okay, who is here? I don't, okay, nobody here. Before I give my stance, I don't think I can ruin it for anybody, right? I don't want to ruin anything right now. There's nobody here that I can ruin this for. Okay? Hear me out. Tim's a joke. I'm sorry. I tried. Listen. In my first attempt, I said it with my whole chest, y'all. I said it with my whole chest. I know some of y'all were not here. I know some of y'all were not with me at this time, okay, y'all? I know a lot of y'all didn't actually get with me on this journey until Throne of Glass. And that is okay. All right? It's okay. I get it. But I have to admit, because listen, I am going to admit it. It's a hard thing. Nobody's here, right? No, yeah, okay. I hope everybody's already read this. Anyway, when I read this the first time, I said it with my whole chest, and there's a video to prove it. I said, Jesus Christ, why don't you stay? He is telling you what to do. He is taking care. I said, I am Team Tamlin. I said it with my chest, y'all. I don't want to admit it. I said I was Team Tamlin. Because the book even said, there's sadistic killers in the book. I was young, dumb, and naive. You know what I'm saying? It happened. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, sorry. I had to go on my little rant. Okay, hear me out. I don't remember enough, so I'm ready to relearn. Ooh, I like that, Courtney. Yes. DW, how have the shiver and the shakes, have they been okay? Have you been vibrating too much today? I heard there was like multiple earthquakes throughout the world. Was that you or was that just the earthquaking? I'm just asking. You know what I mean? Yes, you don't. I don't look like a High Lord. Okay. Someone tried to tell me my childhood has trauma. Well, I'm sure all they do. I'm ready for the hot takes to come out about Tam Tam. There's going to be some good hot takes. They have. The shakes are catching on. They are catching on, I'm telling you. I told Lawn Chair I'll be getting 5 chapters a day in, even if we are in Mexico. Allie Grace, you are amazing. Listen, it's like an hour a day. Do it in the morning. Do it in the morning when you just first wake up, cup of coffee. That's what I usually do. I mean, and you can also literally do it in the morning.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran.
Wise go blonde. Hey, babe, you want to get a picture? It was Q said, wise go blonde. I was like, don't you have a picture of me when I dyed my hair blonde back in the day? Oh, you don't have that in? Okay, sorry. I thought we had that. Oh, no, we had the black and white version of it. That's right. Sorry. At one point, I did have the blonde hair, believe it or not. I did. It was the hydrogen peroxide M&M blonde. Go figure. Okay, let's see. DW. Oh, you got the shakes. All right. I'll disagree with the majority. That's funny, Courtney. There you be. I'll be doing it in the morning, then reading on the beach in the Hey, there you go. Hot. Oh, okay. Jessica's coming in with a hot take. Reese is using Diamante powers and Warmark bargains to control the whole narrative. Ooh, Jessica coming in hot, saying Reese. Are you saying Reese is just a bad guy overall, or he's just manipulating things? How are you discussing that? Like, what extent is like Reese actually a secretive bad guy, and you think like it's unexpected love for that man, or is it he's just doing it for the betterment? Ooh, Courtney jumps in. I don't think Reese is as good as people want him to be. Okay. Pixie, what's up? Oh, Q, I'm on the longest dry Q, I'm not gonna ask for that clarification, but I think I have an idea, and I'm sorry. That sucks. And you be counting his flags. How do you know how many we're up to right now? Or are you gonna restart the count? Are we restarting a count? Oh, I got you. Reading it like he could be. I mean, that it always could be. It always could be. Today was the longest day. All I wanted, it was so hard today to freaking not just jump in and then seeing people like, yeah, I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna go ahead and start. And Bose and Sarah down in South Africa, they were like, I got insomnia. I'm gonna read anyway. So they started early. It was fun. It was a good time. I think a lot of people got started early, but I wanted to wait, make sure, but I almost did. All right. Vapes are illegal in whoa, that's crazy. Jessica, the count and red flag. All right, we got red flag counters. I like that. A Hercules situation. The betrayal is Dr. Lego coming in with something crazy. Courtney really wasn't a Reese fan. I like Reese. I like Reese. I just don't get it twisted. Okay, I like Reese. I liked Reese all throughout the story. Cassian in the ACOTAR series, Cassian is my favorite male character. I liked him more than Reese. I think Reese is what he says he is. I don't think there's any ulterior motives to Reese. I think Reese is just the way he is. I think he is. I don't think they're gonna do that with him. I don't. I think if anybody, she would do it with Az. That's just my personal opinion because we don't know much. I don't think she's... You have to speak up, love. What? Right. Right. So I don't know if y'all could hear her. She was like, I always say you need somebody to make those great choices. I think Ray is that person that has like, he makes the great choices, but it's always for the greater good. You see what I'm saying? I think Reese, for me personally, I think Reese is what he says he is. He's trying to make change. He's trying to do it better for the world. I think Az is the sus one. I think Az is the one that's right there that everybody thinks it's, you know, there are possibilities, but it's just Az. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. When we do this, you know, when we're about to jump into it again. So this time I'm not going to be as naive reading this book. I will say that much. And you know, we got a little bit more going into it, so that's going to be good for sure. I'm going to do the hard copy, believe it or not. Now, and the reason that is well, I was going to go on my Kindle. I know I said I was going to go on my Kindle, but I think I've got my, just so y'all know, I don't okay, here we go. So I got my highlighters, as you see. I got my highlighters. And I got my tabs, and I've been trying to think my COA, my courses of action, on how I want to tackle this. And I'm just like, man, my problem with coming into this is I'm like, Wise, I gotta be honest with myself, and I can't go too deep. I cannot go too deep, because if I go too deep, we will never get off this first book, because I will overanalyze every single sentence. So I'm gonna have to figure out what exactly I'm gonna go down. And then we're going to go into that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll figure that. I think the biggest thing I'm going to focus on what's going on now with what I'm going to highlight is this time is things that I missed the first time. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is going to be for me. All right. It's going to be for me. If I read something, I go, oh, wait a second, I don't remember that. Or boom, that's what I'm going to highlight. It's just, wait, I don't remember that. Now, if it is something that I remember is important, I'm going to try to highlight that in another color and hopefully be able to remember what that links to. That's going to be my problem. Okay. Is I'm not taking my whole series, because what I would normally do is I would highlight something. I would take a notebook and say, okay, chapter 1, blue line 1. This is what happened. Connection, Akamath, this part here. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of, for me to do what I want, I don't think I'll be able to get to it. So it's going to have to happen on a few reads. But eventually, we'll have a completely tabbed in text, and I'll be able to tell you exactly how everything is linked. But it's going to take us a while to get there. It's going to take us a while to get there. So what we're going to focus on tonight is just retelling the story, having a good time, and seeing what we really missed. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I don't think we're going to have too many fellers show up, but I'm hoping we might get a fella or two to join us. Maybe we can turn their minds on this. Hopefully let them see that this is not just about fairies fucking. Whoever wrote that song definitely needs a freaking, like, a clap on the back. That little fairy fucking, you know what I mean? Because that is amazing. But anyway, folks, I think what we're going to do, I think I'm going to get started with a quick button trio because Rune has something set up for me. And then we are going to get going. We'll get started early. We'll get going a little bit early. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys, thems, and those. I still haven't figured the line out. Try to get everybody in. Somebody want to give me a very inclusive introduction? I have been trying. I've had my kids try. This is tried. I can't figure it out. I don't know what the proper terminology is to get everybody in. But anyway, everyone, hey everyone, we doing this shit. Let's go, fuckers. You know what I mean? Y'all, exactly. Y'all. All y'all bitches. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I felt bad when I was talking about it, and I was like, yeah, all my motherfuckers in my Discord. And M was like, aw, we graduated from voices to motherfuckers. I was like, you know, that's a term of endearment for me, right? Hello and welcome all. You know what? That's the easiest fucking shit I ever. Why didn't I think of that? I like that one. Thank you so much. Fucking holy crap. That was so easy, DW. That was amazing. Wait, what did you just say? He texts back, oh, I forgot, enjoy until them lawn chairs said hi. Ah, that's amazing. I like that, man. I like that, man. Allie, I think you found you a good one, Allie. I think we found a good one. Allie, this is to Allie's good lawn chair repairman. All right. Is everyone ready? Woo! Wise, I'm finally reading your Night Court edition. Oh, that's epic. Heck yeah. I believe. Oh, that's awesome. Do you have one of those? The Night Court edition? You only have, or is that just a special one? I don't, there's so many editions. I'm not sure which ones are which. The black one inside, that's just a special limited. Ah, okay. Special one time hardback in a case. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Nice. Bixie, that is amazing. Thank you for saving it for such an occasion. I am honestly honored that you waited to with me and the voices. Thank you so much. Seriously. All right. We got our stuff. All right, now we're gonna try. If y'all see something while we're going through this, I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a little bit more paying attention to the chat too, out of like my peripherals and shit, in case there's something some of y'all see. As far as, you know, we might have seen it this time. You know what I mean? So that if you see something, just try to get my attention in the chat, okay? Originally, I was gonna be like, oh, I'll just have them send a rose, but that'll be a lot of roses, and we don't need to work that'll get expensive quick. So just pop some emojis or something, pop something up in there, get me the attention so we can have that discussion, okay? I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if 5 chapters. We should have plenty of time, but we'll adjust if we have to, okay? Oh yeah, we're literally, this is the book that started it all, everybody. If you don't know, a year and a half ago, February last year, this is the book that started it right here. And we're back to it. We've kind of come full circle. And again, thank you all for coming. I know a lot of y'all hadn't joined me on this part of the journey yet. So getting to relive this part with y'all, it's going to be pretty special. I will say, I wish I would have known y'all, excuse me, when I got to do this so y'all could have seen me go through this whole thing for the first time, but I understand. All right. Woo! Wow. Here we are again. This is crazy. This is actually kind of crazy. Ooh, first time I'm actually rereading a book too. So, well, how about that free? How about them apples, right? All right, here we go. And I did exactly, Q. And back then I only read one chapter of this book. So it's gonna be kind of crazy. All right, here we go. A Court of Thorns and Roses. Chapter 1. The forest had become a labyrinth of snow and ice. I had been monitoring the parameters of the thicket for an hour. The vantage point in the crook of the tree branch had turned useless. The gusts of winds blew thick furies to sweep away my tracks, but buried along them were any signs of potential quarry. Hunger had brought me further from home than I'd usually risk, but winter was the hard time. The animals had pulled in, going deeper into the woods than I could follow, leaving me to pick off stragglers one by one, praying they'd last until spring. I wiped my numb fingers over my eyes, brushing away the flakes clinging to my lashes. There were no telltale trees stripped of bark to mark the deer passing. They hadn't yet moved on. They would remain until the bark ran out, then travel north past the wolves' territory and perhaps to the fairy lands in Printhia, where no mortals would dare go unless they had a death wish. A shudder skittered down my spine at the thought, and I shoved it away, focusing on my surroundings, on the task ahead. That was all I could do. All I had been able to do for years. Focus on surviving the week, the day, the hour ahead. And now, with the snow, I'd be lucky to spot anything, especially from my position up in the tree, scarcely able to see 15 feet ahead. Stifling a groan as my limbs protested at the movement, I unstrung my bow before easing off the tree. Elizabeth Evans, who? The icy snow crunched under my fraying boots, and I ground my teeth. Low visibility, unnecessary noises. I was well on my way yet to another fruitless hunt. Only a few hours of daylight remained. If I didn't leave soon, I'd have to navigate my way home in the dark, and the warning of the town hunters still rang fresh in my mind. Giant wolves were on the prowl, and in numbers. Not to mention whispers of strange folk spotted in the area, tall, eerie, and deadly. Anything but fairies. The hunters had beseeched for long-forgotten gods, and I had secretly prayed alongside them. In 8 years, we'd been living in our village, 2 days' journey from the immortal border in Printhia. We'd been spared an attack through traveling peddlers, sometimes brought stories of distant border towns left in splinters, bone, and ash. These accounts, once rare enough to be dismissed by villagers' elders as hearsay, had in recent months become common whisperings over every market day. There's no one in here who doesn't know the story, right? Like, I should not say spoilers. I don't think so. I think you're good, but I'm not sure, love. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I believe we're good. Everybody read, right? If it was Discord, I'd say just put the banner over it. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'll let y'all discuss that one. I don't know. That's a good question. It's to put in the chat. They're talking in the chat. There's no spoiler chat. You see what I'm saying? The TikTok chat. That's what she's asking about. So. Yeah, just blurt it out. I mean, listen, if there's somebody here that hasn't seen it, it's okay. It's all right. I think they'll be okay. She said, bird it. Just bird it. Bert and Ernie. Okay. All right, everybody. And DW says, coming up, she thinks that there's a part that sounds kind of like the new cover reveal for today. Okay. All right. Well, let's check that out. Let's see what's up with that one. All right, let's get back to it. Whisperings on every market day. I had risked much in the coming so far into the forest, but we had finished our last loaf of bread yesterday and the remainder of our dried meat the day before. Still, I would have rather spent another night with a hungry belly than force myself satisfying in an appetite of a wolf or a fairy. Not that there was much of me to feast on. I'd turned gangly, I'm gangly, by this time of the year, and could count a good number of my ribs. Moving as nimbly and quietly as I could between the trees, I pushed a hand against my hollow and aching stomach. I knew the expression that would be on my two elder sisters' faces when I returned to our cottage, empty-handed, yet again. After a few heavy minutes of careful searching, I crouched in a cluster of snow-filled brambles. Through the thorns, I had a half-decent view of a clearing and a small brook flowing through it. A few holes in the ice suggested it was still frequently used, hoping something would come by. Hopefully. I sighed through my nose, digging the tip of my bow into the ground. Leaned on my forehead against the crude curve of wood. We wouldn't last another week without food, and too many families had already started begging me to hope for handouts for the wealthier townfolk. I'd witnessed firsthand exactly how far the charity went. I eased into a more comfortable position and calmed my breathing, straining to listen to the forest over the wind. The snow fell and fell, dancing and curling like sparkling spindrifts. The white fresh, clean against my brown and gray of the world, and despite myself, despite my numb limbs, I quieted that relentless, vicious part of my mind to take in the snow-veiled woods. Has anyone realized when you tap it's not hearts anymore? What is it? You still get hearts? They're little bubbles. Hearts are bubbles? Oh, hearts and bubbles, hearts and bubbles. That's cool. Once it had been second nature to savor the contrast of the new grass against the dark, tilted soil and the amethyst brooch nestled in the folds of emerald silk. Once I dreamed and breathed and threw in color and light and shape. Oh, is that what you're talking about right there? Is that what we're talking about right there? Sometimes I would even indulge and envision a day when my sister were married and it was only me and my father with enough food to go around, enough money to buy some paint, and enough time to put those colors and shapes down on paper and canvas or on the cottage walls. Not likely to happen anytime soon, perhaps ever. So I was left with moments like this, admiring the glint of a pale winter light on snow. I couldn't remember the last time I'd done it, bothered to notice anything lovely or interesting. Stolen hours into the decrepit barn with Isaac Hale. Fucking Isaac didn't count. Those times were hungry and empty and sometimes cruel, but never lovely. The howling wind claimed in a soft sighing. The snow fell lazily now in big fat clumps that gathered along every nook and bump of the trees. Mesmerizing, the lethal, gentle beauty of the snow. It'd soon have to return to the muddy, frozen roads of the village, to the cramped heat of the cottage. Small, fragmented part of me recoiled and fought. Brushes rustled across the clearing. Drawing my bow was a matter of instinct. I peered through the thorns, and my breath caught. Less than 30 paces away stood a small doe, not yet too scrawny from winter, but desperate enough to retch bark from a tree in the clearing. A deer like that could feed my family for a week or more. My mouth watered, quiet as the wind hissing around through the dead leaves. I took aim. She continued tearing off strips of bark, chewing slowly, utterly unaware that her death waited yards away. I could dry half the meat and we could immediately eat the rest. Stews, pies. Her skin could be sold and perhaps turned into clothing for one of us. I needed new boots. But Elaine, the bitch, needed to buy some potatoes. Needed a new cloak. And Nesta, that bitch, what a prone to crave anything someone else possessed. My fingers trembled. So much food. Such salvation. I took a steady breathing, double-checking my aim. Hey, typo. Yeah, sorry. My books have a lot of typos, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. My book does have a few typos. I'm sorry. My fingers trembled. So much food. Such salvation. I took a steady breathing, double-checking my aim. But there was a pair of golden eyes shining in the bush adjacent to mine. Bum, bum, bum! Who could that be? The forest went silent. The wind died. Even the snow paused. Were mortals no longer kept with gods to worship? But if I had known their last names, I would have prayed to them, all of them. Concealed in the thicket, the wolf inched closer, its gaze set on an oblivious doe. He was enormous. That's what she said. The size of a pony. And though I had been warned about their presence, my mouth turned bone dry. But worse than his size, it was unnatural stealth. Even as he inched closer to the brush, he remained unheard, unspotted by the doe. No animal that massive could be so quiet. But if he was no ordinary animal, if he was of Prynthian origin, if he somehow was fairy, then being eaten was the least of my concerns. If he was fairy, I should already be running. Yet maybe it would be a favor to the world, to my village, to myself, to schmill him while I remain undetected. Putting an arrow through his eye would be no burden. But despite his size, he looked like a wolf, moved like a wolf. Animal, I reassured myself, just an animal. I didn't let myself consider the alternative. Now when I needed my head clear, my breathing steady, I had a hunting knife and 3 arrows. The first two were ordinary arrows, simple and effective, and like no more than a bee sting to a wolf that size. But the third arrow, the longest, the heaviest one, I brought from a traveling peddler during the summer when we had enough coppers for extra luxuries. An arrow carved from mountain ash, armed with an iron head. All right, DW has Splinters of Bone and Ash. Part 2 made me think of the cover. Okay. Oh, I like that. Ooh. Where was that? Did we just see that? Yeah, Splinters of Bone and Ash part. Okay. I like that, DW. Okay, where were we? I had a hunting knife and 3 arrows. The first 2 were ordinary arrows. Oh, no, I did that one. Sorry. From songs sung to us as lullabies over our cradles, we all knew from infancy that fairies hated iron, but it was the ashwood that made them immortal. They're immortal. Healing, magic, falter. Okay, but it was the ashwood that made their immortal healing magic falter long enough for a human to make a killing blow. Sorry, she bent over. I got distracted. My bad. I'm sorry. Where was I again? Oh, or so legend or rumor had claimed. The only proof we had of these ashes' effectiveness was its sheer rarity. Ladies and gentlemen, Lady Liss.
Oh, hello.
I seen the drawings of the trees, but never one with my own eyes. Not after the high fae had buried them all along. So few remained, most of them small and sickly and hidden, but the nobility within high-walled groves. I'd spent weeks after my purchase debating whether that overpriced bit of wood had been a waste of money or fake, and for 3 years, the ash arrow had sat unused in my quiver. Now I drew it, keeping my movements minimal, effective, anything to avoid that monstrous wolf looking in my direction. The arrow was long and heavy enough to inflict damage, possibly schmill him. If I aimed right, my chest became so tight it ached, and in that moment, I realized my life boiled down to one question. Was the wolf alone? I gripped my bow and drew the string further back. I was a decent shot, but I never faced a wolf. I thought it made me lucky, even blessed. But now, I don't know where to hit or how fast they move. I couldn't afford to miss. Now when I only had 1 ash arrow, and if I was indeed a fairy's heart pounding under that fur, then good riddance. Good riddance. After all their kind had done to us, I wouldn't risk this one later creeping into our village to slaughter and maim and torment, to let him die here and now. I'd be glad to end him. The wolf crept closer, and the twig snapped beneath one of his paws, each bigger than my hand. The doe went rigid. He glanced to either side, ears straining towards the gray sky. With the wolf's downward position, she couldn't see or smell him. His head lowered. and his massive silver body so perfectly blended into the snow and shadows sank on its hunches. The doe was still staring in the wrong direction. I glanced from the doe to the wolf and back again. At least he was alone. At least he'd been spared that much. But if the wolf scared the doe off, I was left with nothing but starving, oversized wolf, possibly a fairy, looking for the next best meal. And if he killed her, destroying precious amounts of hide and fat, if I judged wrongly, my life wasn't the only thing that would be lost. But if my life had to be reduced to nothing but risks these past 8 years, then I'd been hunting in the woods, and I'd picked correctly most of the time. Most of the time. The wolf shot and brushed in a flash of gray and white and black. His yellow fangs gleamed, and he even more gargantuan in the open. A marvel of muscle and speed and brute strength. The doe didn't stand a chance. I fired the ash arrow before I destroy much else of her. The arrow found its mark in its side, and I could have sworn the ground itself shuddered, barked in pain, released the doe's neck as the blood splayed on the snow. So ruby, so bright. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop right there, and we're just going to take a quick second to acknowledge, ladies and gentlemen, we have a somewhat celebrity joining us down in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please give a round of applause for one of my favorite content creators? Jonesy is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all got to go check that man out. You got to go check that man out. This man, he is fucking hilarious. I ain't going to lie. I'm sorry. I have, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Everybody say hi. No, I ain't chilling, brother. No, sir. I can't do that, sir. I'm sorry. It's how it is. I'm sorry. Me and my voices introduced me to you. Sir, you're hilarious. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna stop fangirling right now. You, sir, you are hilarious. Please keep up what you are doing. You make me laugh every day, and you keep setting that bar higher, and you making me try to be better, sir. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So since you're new here, this is your first time here, we have this little thing called the buttons, okay? And what it is I make some little thirst traps basically for the ladies here. You get to pick a button, good sir. So pick a number between 1 and 13, but do not pick 3, and it's not a joke. 13 is the bad button. It's my chode button, okay? It's for all my douche canoes, is what I like to call them. And he's going with 7, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Enjoy! I hope you love it. They said you like Manning, so they're going to get a double feature of buttons. This one's going out to Josie and Manon. Oh, thank you so much for that follow, Slash. I need all these photos. Hey, we got you, sir. We got you. I tell you what. I believe I have these posted. I will see if I can get them to you, my friend. No worries. But yes, Pinterest is 100%. That's where we get them. Myself and the lovely lady list. That's where we get most of the stuff. Put them out there. But seriously, good sir. Yeah, they are posted in the Discord. But seriously, I appreciate you, everything you do out here, and being such a cool person and a content creator. There's not many of us, guys out here. So I just wanted to say, when you find one of the good ones, we got to point them out. So, sir, I just want to thank you for what you do, and I appreciate you stopping by too. So, with that being said, let's get back to our story. All right. Here we go. Okay, so we had the blood. Oh, that's right. She shot the wolf. The poor damn wolf. Poor little wolf. Thank you, good sir. I appreciate you. All right. He whirled toward me, those yellow eyes wide, hackles raised, his low growl, "Woof up, awaits!" in the empty pit of my stomach as I surged to my feet. Snow churning around me, another arrow drawn, but the wolf merely looked at me, his maw stained with blood, my ash arrow protruding so vulgarly from his side. The snow began falling again. He looked, and with sort of awareness and surprise that made me fire the second arrow, just in case that intelligence was of the immortal, wicked sort. He did not try to dodge the arrow as it went clean. God damn, that hurts even more now. Oh, fuck, y'all. That line hurts so bad. Oh, the arrow. Oh, my God. He didn't try to dodge the arrow as it went clean through his wide eye. He collapsed to the ground. Oh, that hurts so much. Oh, God. Cold and darkness wheeled, editing in my vision. Mixing with the snow, his legs were twitching and a low whine sliced through the wind. Impossible. He should be dead, not dying. The arrow was through his eye, almost the goose fletching. But a wolf or fairy, it didn't matter. Now with the ash arrow buried in his side, he'd be dead soon enough. Still, my hand shook as I brushed off the snow and edged closer, still keeping a good distance. Blood gushed from the wounds I'd given him, staining the snow crimson. He pawed at the ground, his breath already slowing. Oh, thank you very much for the gifts. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jonesy, the night skies. Thank you, love, man. I appreciate you. Right, that event. Oh, man. Color and darkness. Okay, on the ground. The arrow was through his eye, but a fairy wolf, it didn't matter. Not with the ash buried in his side. But be dead soon enough. Still my hand shook as I brushed off snow and edged closer. Still keeping a good distance, blood gushed from the wounds I'd given him, staining the snow crimson. He pawed at the ground, his breath already slowing. He was in much pain. Or his whimper, just an attempt to shove death away. I wasn't sure. I wanted to know. The snow swirls around us. I stared at him until the coat of charcoal and obsidian in the ivory ceased rising and falling. Wolf. Definitely. Just a wolf, despite his size. Oh, God, that hurts. The tightness in my chest eased, and I loathed a sigh, my breath clouding in front of me. At least the ash arrow had proved itself to be lethal, regardless of who or what it took down. A rapid examination of the doe told me I could carry only animal, even if it would be a struggle. But it was a shame to leave the wolf. Though it was a waste of precious minutes steering any predator could smell the fresh blood, I skinned him. God! Oh, this hurts so much more! And cleaned my arrows as best I could. If anything, it warmed my hands. I wrapped my bloody side of the pelt around the doe's death wound before I hoisted her across my shoulder. It was several miles back to the cottage. I didn't need a trail of blood leading every animal with fangs and claws straight to me. Grunting against the wind, I gasped at the legs of the deer and sparred a final glance at the streaming carcass of the wolf. His remaining golden eye now stared at the snow, heavy sky. And for a moment, I wish I had it in front of me. Wait, I got it. No, okay, sorry. I wish I had it in me to feel remorse for the dead thing. But this was the forest, and it was winter. Okay, a year and a half ago when I read this fucking chapter, I didn't have that much goddamn emotion in it. I was just like, yeah, okay, cool. She shot a fucking wolf. Like, literally, that was my whole video. Like, literally.
Girl.
Literally.
She was hungry. She was walking through the woods.
Oh my
and she
God.
saw the deer and the wolf, but she shot them both.
Oh my God. To Andreas. Yeah. God. Oh, the jeez Louise.
Nice gang, honor it.
Oh. Golly.
Wouldn't be a story without him.
I wasn't sure. I was like, I'm not going to have feelings for this book reading it again. No way. Holy shit. It's a whole fucking perspective. Oh my Lord. All right. That is some Reddit. Oh, no, wait. Wait. Who is that on? No, I'm sorry. That's on Rune.
Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae.
Not tonight, we did. I don't think we did. I didn't see it. Oh, we got one Sunday. If you're asking, we got one Sunday. We got one Sunday. Yes. We got a restriction on Sunday, P. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the... Which one was it? Was it the... I think it was the Brownheads. I think it was the Brownheads that got us restricted on Sunday. Yeah. The boys. It was the boys. I think it was the boys that got us a restriction on Sunday. Man, yeah, that's where the new one came from. If that's what you're asking about, P. Right? Hopefully we'll be good. All right. There we are. I want to thank everybody for dropping. Jeez Louise, what is going on? Jonesy, what are you doing, my friend? Oh, my good sir. Thank you for the gifts. Oh, my Lord. Wow. I am not worthy, good sir. Holy crap. Oh, Jonesy, thank you so much. Seriously. Oh, thank you all for the gifts. Oh, man. Yeah, definitely a different mindset on this reread, y'all. Oh, hey, sir, you just showed me the love by stopping here tonight. Seriously, just by stopping in tonight and saying hi, that means the world, not only to me, but to all my followers and my voices, because in our Discord, they talk about you every time you go live. It's, oh, Jonesy's there. So seriously, sir, thank you for just stopping by and spreading out and being one of those creators that goes out and talks to the other people, because a lot of people, they stay in their little tunnels and you don't get to see the stuff. So by you coming in here, sir, seriously, that's no more gifts from you. Please, seriously, sir, this is more than enough. That's all I can ask for. You're amazing. All right. DW, thank you for the roses. Thank you for the roses. Have a good night, my friend. Take care. I hope you have a good workout at the gym. I believe that's where you said you were going. And again, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Much love back to you. Woo. All right. That was a good first chapter. Okay. So really quick, before we move on, do we want to discuss anything really about chapter 1 before we move on? Excuse me. Oh, Nikki, no worries. I'm glad you're able to come back in here and hang out with us. Trust me, I see when you do get a chance to chat. So in comments. So I appreciate when you do. Other than Andreas Q, what do you want to talk about? Yeah, like that is Andreas POV hits me hard. Like that the wolf part hits me hard this time, knowing that it was him. Like that hurts for 100%. That hit me for that was ooh. Okay, so I have a question with Andreas. I mean, does that, like, I'm not gonna lie, I think that man gets like Liam status in a way. Like, think about it. I think Andreas, like he's up there, like exactly willingly. He knew what was gonna happen. I'm not saying not full Lamb status, but I'm saying he should be up there with these people that we remember. You know what I'm saying? Like he would have to be around longer to be at Liam status. You know what I'm saying? That's hard to get there. That's up there. But I'm saying he is this. We remembered some mofo. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about that one. Ooh, that's a safe one, DW. Like a Lucian if he was around longer. Fair enough, fair enough. He could have been a complete tool. I mean, absolutely. His sacrifice shouldn't be in begged. He begged Tam Tam. Okay, listen, we'll come back to this part of the discussion. You know what I mean? We will have to come back to this part of the discussion when we get to that part. Okay? I like it. All right. Let's get moving on. He will be recognized. I like it. I like it. That's something we can table. Let's get back on with our story. All right. Otherwise, we'll talk about chapter 1 all night long. I know us. I know us. And then somehow mayonnaise. And then we'll talk about Emily's grocery shopping. I'm just saying. She got it all. All right. Chapter 2. Here we go. The sun had set by the time I exited the forest, my knees shaking. Oh, wait. No, I said I was just doing one a day again, right? All right, folks, that's right. That's the end of chapter 1, so that's how we're just going to end it. I said we're just going to do it like we did the first time, right? One chapter at a time. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'm just playing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are you though? Are you though?
Not at all. Not at all. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Chapter 2. The sun had set by the time I exited the forest, my knees shaking, my hands stiff from clenching the leg of the deer. Had gone utterly numb miles ago. Not even the carcass could ward off the deepening chill. The world was awash in hues of dark blue, interrupted by shafts of buttery light escaping from the shuttered windows of our dilapidated cottage. The buttery light escaping the shutter. Wait, DW, do we see the part you were talking about with the book cover? Did you mention that already? Was that the splintering wood? I just want to make sure. I'm sorry, before I got on. You're splintering wood. Okay, that was the cover? Okay. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sorry, that hit me. Okay. The world was awash of hues of dark blue, interrupted only by shafts of buttery light escaping from the shutter of our dilapidated cottage. It was like striding through a living painting, a fleeting moment of stillness, of blue swiftly shifting to solid darkness. Well, it's definitely not that. It's definitely not those colors right there. As I trudge up the path, each step fueled only by a near dizzying hunger, my sisters' voices fluttered out to meet me. I did not disconcern their words to know they were mostly like chattering about some young man or the ribbons they'd spotted in the village, why they should be chopping wood. But I smiled. Oh, hey, Lily girl, how you doing? We got a little cat butt action right there. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, Princess Lily is here. What are you doing, girlfriend? You can't make that jump. You cannot make that jump. You can't make that jump, my friend. I know you think you can, but you can't. But I smiled a bit nonetheless. I kicked my boots against the stone door frame, knocking the snow from them. Bits of ice came free from the gray stone of the cottage, revealing a faded ward marking. Ooh, etched into the... Okay, that is our first ward marking, okay, right here. You hear that right there? Oh, there we go. All right, she's just going by the side. She made it. Okay, you are in front of my chat, girlfriend. Lily, I can't read. I can read your butt. I literally... Don't move the camera. Don't move the camera. Lily, where are you going? Just another pussy in this house that doesn't listen to me. That's great. Okay. Sorry. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, she is. She's funny. Oh, man. Brings a whole new meaning of talking out your ass. Right? Exactly. Just right there. Just showing it to me. Okay. So, ward marking. Do we think this had anything to do right here? That's the first time I've heard ward. That's the first time ward marking. Hmm. I kicked my boots and then the faded ward. Ah, W-A-R-D mark. Oh, I see what you're saying. Ward and not ward marking. Okay. I believe it was W-Y-R-D. I believe it was W-Y-R-D in Throne of Glass. I am 99% sure, but we would have to double check that one. But I'm pretty sure. Okay. So we think that's something there, right? Because now we've always said now, I'm just gonna go ahead and we're gonna put that faded ward marking there. That's that. All right. I'm gonna go back on the second page. Okay. So we do have that there because now listen. Now we do have our little theory that we're gonna look into about their mama, right? And we've always said something about the moms. Okay. Hey, welcome, Ash. I'm glad you're able to join us. Welcome, welcome. All right, cool. All right, so the ward markings etched around their threshold. My father had once convinced a passing charlatan to trade the engraving against fairy harm in exchange for one of his wood carvings. There was so little that my father was ever able to do for us that I hadn't possessed the heart to tell him the engraving was useless and undoubtedly fake. Mortals didn't possess magic, didn't possess any superior strength and speeds of the fairies or high fae. That's the first time they've mentioned high fae, I believe, here. Now, they've mentioned fairies, but it's the first time high faes come in. The man claiming some high fae blood in his ancestry had just carved the whirls and swirls in runes around the door and windows, muttered a few nonsense words, and ambled on his way. Okay, who is this guy now? That guy's somebody. That guy is somebody. Maybe. So we got him because he says that. I'll have to connect him to something. Okay. I yanked open the wooden door, the frozen iron handle biting my skin like an asp. The heat and light blinded me as I slipped inside. Feyre! Elaine, why ain't you growing potatoes, bitch? Soft gasps scraped through past my ear, and I blinked back in the brightness of the fire to find my second eldest sister before me. Though she was bundled in the threadbare blanket, her golden brown hair, the hair all three of us had, was coiled perfectly about her head. 8 years of poverty hadn't stripped from her desire to look lovely. Where did you get that? The undercurrent of hunger hung in her words, and the sharpness that had become too common in the recent weeks. No mention of the blood on me. I'd long since given up hope that they actually noticed whether I came back from the woods every evening, at least until they got hungry again. But then again, my mother hadn't made them swear anything when they stood beside her on her deathbed. Excuse me. I took a calming breath and I slugged the dough off the shoulder. She hit the wooden table with a thud, rattling the ceramic cup on the other end. Where you think I got it? My voice had turned hoarse, each wood burning as it came out. My father and Nestus silently warmed their hands by the hearth, my eldest sister ignoring him, as usual. Bitch. I peeled off the wolf pelt in the doe's body, and after removing my boots and settling them to the door, I turned to Elaine. Grow some potatoes. Her brown eyes, my father's eyes, remained pinned on the dough. Will it take you long to clean? Me, not her, not the others. I never once seen their hands sticky with blood and fur. I only learned to prepare and harvest my kills, thanks to the instruction of others. Elaine pushed her hand against her belly, probably as empty and aching as my own. It wasn't that Elaine was cruel. She wasn't like Nesta, bitch, but who had borne no sneer on her face. Elaine sometimes just didn't grasp things. It wasn't meanness that kept her from offering to help. It simply never occurred to her that she might be capable of getting her hands dirty. I'd never been able to decide whether she actually didn't understand we were truly poor or if she just refused to accept it. It still hadn't stopped me from buying her seeds for her flower garden. she tended in the months earlier whenever I could afford it. Again, idiocracy right here. Either she's not this either she's a very very overly educated person who can read too many languages and she got the language for flowers and potatoes jacked up, or they're all just idiots. I don't get it. Oh, I just don't get it. I still can't get over that. Weaponized incompetence. What are we talking? Elaine's pregnant. Okay, see, Jessica, now you say this right here. Now you say, let's pay attention to how much the prejudice against her sisters is in her own inner monologue. Now, I mentioned this to her on the first read through, and I have said this many, many times. I don't think they're sisters. Or they're half sisters. Have I not? Have I said this? I'm just saying. I know people, I'm just saying. Okay, sorry. And it had stopped me from buying 3 small tins of paint. Red, yellow, and blue. During the same summer, I had had enough to buy the ash arrow. It was the only gift she'd ever given me. Our house still bore the marks of it, even if the paint was now fading and chipped. Little vines and flowers along the windows and thresholds of edges of things. Tiny curls of flames in the stones bordering the hearth. Any spare minutes I'd had the bountiful summer I used to bedeck our house in the color. Sometimes hiding clever decorations inside drawers, behind the thread-red curtains, underneath the chairs and the tables. See that? Reading that again makes me happy. Reading that again makes me so happy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm with you, Alejandra. I understand. Welcome back, Sam. Welcome back. All right, so we like that sister theory. If one of y'all wouldn't mind just taking some notes and we can put like in the Discord later, because I would like to maybe possibly have us deep dive into that one day, the sister theory. Well, I might have to get the board over here one night and we'll put that up there. But all right, sorry. Okay, where were we? Chairs and tables. We hadn't had summer since easy. Feyre, my father's deep rumble came from the fire. His dark beard was neatly trimmed, his face spotless, like my sister's. He's like the sister. I don't think mom. Maybe mom, different dads. What luck you had today in bringing us such a feast. From beside my father, Nesta snorted, bitch. Not surprisingly, any bit of praise for anyone, me, Elaine, other villagers, usually resulted in her dismissal, and any word from our father usually resulted in her ridicule as well. I straightened, almost too tired to stand, but braced a hand on the table beside the dough as I shot at Nesta a glare. Of us, Nesta had taken the loss of our fortune the hardest, bitch. She had quickly resented my father from the moment we had fled our manor. Even after that awful day, the creditors had come to show just how displeased he was at the loss of his investment. But at least Nesta didn't fill our heads with useless talk of regaining our wealth like my father. No, she just spent whatever money I didn't hide from her, or rarely bothered to acknowledge my father's limping presence at all. Some days I could tell which of us was the most wretched and bitter. Okay, listen. I am gonna hate on Nesta because this is the crazy thing. Listen. Nesta is my favorite female character in this series, okay? But I am the first one to say she's a bitch, and she deserves every single bitch that she has coming her way. That's all I'm gonna say. I am a Nesta stan, but I'm gonna keep it true. She's a bitch and she deserves it. She working on her shit, but she deserves it. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Wretched and bitter. We can eat half the meat this week, I said, shifting my gaze to the dough. The deer took up the entirety of the rickety table and served as our dining area, workspace, and kitchen. We can dry the other half, I went on, knowing that no matter how nicely I phrased it, I still do the bulk of it. And I'll go to the market tomorrow and see how much I can get for the hides, I finished, more to myself than to them. No one bothered to confirm they heard me anyway. My father's ruined leg was stretched out before him and close to the fire as heat as he could get it. The cold or the rain or the change in temperature always aggravated the vicious, twisted wounds of his knee. His simple carved cane was propped up against the chair, a cane he made for himself, and that Nesta, bitch, was sometime prone to leave far out of his reach. That's kind of rude. He could find work if he wasn't so ashamed. Abso-freaking-lutely, Nesta had always said when I hissed about it. She hated him for the injury, too, for not fighting back when the creditors and the thugs had burst into the cottage and smashed his knee again and again. Nesta and Elaine had fled into the bedroom, barricaded the door. I had stayed, begging and weeping through every scream of my father, every crunch of bone. I soiled myself. That's the first mention of watery bowels, huh? Oh, she might have just tinkled. Okay, you're right. And then vomited right in the store before the hearth. Only then did the men leave. We never saw them again. We used a massive chunk of our remaining money to pay for the healer. It had taken my father 6 months to even walk, a year before he could go a mile. The coppers he brought in, sometimes someone pitied him enough to buy his wood carvings, weren't enough to keep us fed. 5 years ago, the money was well and truly gone, when my father still couldn't and wouldn't move much about. He hadn't argued when I announced that I was going hunting. Oh, thank you for the follow, Caroline. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. All right, now listen, I do also want to say this. Listen, let's pay. Yes, you should do that. Absolutely, Q. 100%. 100%. All right, now listen. As much as we can be mad at Nesta for being the older sister and not taking care of him. Listen, I understand Dad got his ass whooped, okay? But still, you have a responsibility as a man to take care of your goddamn family. And I don't care how, you got to take care of something. So as much as we want to get mad at Nesta for not taking care of it, it's still Dad's responsibility. All right? I just want to make sure everybody understands that. It is still his responsibility. Okay? Just saying. Exactly. He is the adult. I understand they're getting older. When they get older, they need to pick up the responsibility and they should help out. But they are his children. It is his responsibility. It is not just Nesta's. It is not just Elaine to grow potatoes and not flowers. Okay. I'm sorry. Moving on. Where was I? Sorry. Where was I? I'm reading a book again. It's so crazy to read the books again. Sorry. Useless talk. Announced that I was going hunting. All right, here we go. Sorry. Am I really sorry? Never, Bruce. You know me. I'm never really sorry. I said what I said and I mean what I say. All right. He hadn't bothered to attempt to stand from his seat by the fire, lazy ass. He hadn't bothered to look up from his wood carvings. He just let me walk into those deadly, eerie woods. Exactly. Even those most seasoned hunters were weary of. I'm just saying, he'd become a little more aware now. Sometimes offered signs of gratitude. Sometimes hobbled all the way to town and selling carvings. But not much. I'd love a new cloak. Of course you would, Elaine. Said at the last of the sight of the same moment Nesta rose and declared, I need a new pair of boots. I kept quiet, knowing better than to get in the middle of one of their arguments. But I glanced at Nesta's still shiny pair at the door. Besides hers, my two small boots were falling apart at the seams, held together by only frailing laces. Oh, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Thank you. But I'm freezing with my raggedy old cloak. Elaine pleaded. I'll shiver to death. She fixed her wide eyes on me and said, Please, Feyre. She drew out 2 syllables of name. Feyre. In the most hideous whine I'd ever endured. Feyre, I want to plant potatoes. And Nesta loudly clicked her tongue before ordering her to shut up. I drowned them out as I began to quarrel over who would get the money, the hide, and would fetch tomorrow, and found my father now standing at the table, one hand braced against it to support his weight as he inspected the deer. His attention slid to the giant wolf pelt. His fingers, still smooth and gentleman, turned. You got smooth ass fingers. Bitch, your fingers ain't worked to the fucking callus and bone. You You're lucky I know what you do at the end of this mother. Turned over the pelt to trace a line through the bloody underside. I tensed. His dark eyes flicked to mine. Feyre, he muttered. His mouth became a tight line. Where did you get this? The same place I got the deer, I replied with quite equal my words and cool and sharp. His gaze traveled over the bow and quiver strapped to my back, the wooden hilt hunting knife at my side. His eyes turned damp. Feyre, the risk. I jerked my trin at the pelt, unable to keep a snap in my voice. I said, I had no other choice. What I really wanted to say was, you don't even bother to attempt to leave the house most days. Were it not for me, we would starve. Were it not for me, we would be dead. And you should have said it. You should have said it. Feyre, he repeated, and closed his eyes. My sister had gone quiet. Bruce, brother, I love you. Bruce, you're lucky I love you, Bruce, you mother lover. All right. Okay, sorry. Feyre, he repeated and closed his eyes. My sisters had gone quiet, and I looked up in time to see Nesta crinkle her nose with the stiff fucking bit. She picked at my cloak. You stink like a pig covered in its own filth. Can you at least try to pretend you're not an ignorant peasant? Ugh. Veg, what's up, girl? Welcome. What's up, Veg? Okay, where's it? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Try. Oh. Seriously? I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh man, that's all right. All right, y'all embarrass me. Hang on. Y'all embarrass me a little bit. I gotta stop. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't do very good with thank yous, y'all. I'm sorry. And yes, that is Goldrin. My amazing wife, Twisted Liss, aka Lady Liss, made that. Thank you. This needs to be read live. I got you. All right. Sorry. Whew, okay. I got a little flustered right there. All right, we'll get back into it. Okay, sorry. Feyre, he repeated and closed his eyes. My sister had gone quiet, and I looked up in time to see Nesta crinkle with her nose with the sniff. And she picked at her coat. You stink like a pig covered in its own filth. Can you at least try and pretend you're not an ignorant peasant? God, she's a bitch. I did not let it sting and ache so. Had been too young to learn more than the basics of manners and reading and writing when our family had fallen into misfortune. She had never let me forget it. She could have fucking taught her, too. She stepped back to run her finger over the braided coils of her golden brown hair. Take those disgusting clothes off. I took my time, swallowing the words. I wanted to bark back at her. Older than me, 3 years. She somehow looked younger than I did. Her golden cheeks always flushed with the delicate, vibrant pink. Can you make a pot of hot water and add wood to the fire? But even as I asked, I noticed the wood pile. There were only 5 logs left. I thought you were going to chop wood today. Nesta picked her long neck. I hate chopping wood. I always get splinters. Fucking bitch! Oh, Nesta, you... She glanced up from beneath her dark lashes. All of us, Nesta looked the most like our mother, especially when she wanted something. Besides Feyre, she said with a pout, you're so much better at it. It takes you half the time it takes me. Your hands are suited for it. They're already so rough. My jaws clenched. Please, I asked, calming my breath, knowing an argument was the last thing I needed or wanted. Please get up at dawn and chop that wood. I unbuttoned the top of my tunic, or we'll be eating a cold breakfast. Her brows narrowed. I will do no such thing. But I was already walking towards the small second room where my sisters and I slept. Elaine murmured a soft plea to Nesta, which earned her a hiss in response. I glanced over my shoulder and my father pointed to the deer. Get the knives ready, I said, not bothering to sound pleasant. I'll be out soon. Without waiting for an answer, I shut the door behind me. Oh, thank you all for the gifts. Holy shnikes. I appreciate that so much. Oh my God, thank you. Oh, wow. Y'all are amazing tonight. I appreciate everybody here. Holy crap, all these gifts are crazy. The room was large enough for a rickety dresser and the enormous ironwood bed we slept in. Ironwood. We've heard ironwood beds before. The sole remnant of our former wealth, and it had been ordered as a wedding gift from my father to my mother. Okay. Now we've had these theories that mom is from somewhere else, right? So an ironwood bed be ordered special for mom because she's from somewhere. I'm just saying. It was the bed in which we'd been born and the bed in which my mother died. In all the painting I'd done at our house these past few years, I never touched it. I slung off my outer clothes in the saggy dresser, frowning at the violets and roses I painted around the knobs of Elaine's drawers. The crackles of flames I painted around Nesta in the night sky, whorls of yellow stars standing in for white around mine. I'd done it to brighten the otherwise dark room. They'd never commented on it. I don't know why I'd ever expect them to. Groaning, it was all I could ever to keep from collapsing on the bed. Man, ironwood, yeah, like the brooms too. Yeah, yes, there we go. Ooh, I wanna. There's a few things I want to check on the ironwood. There's a few things. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Glance over my shoulder. Remnant. Ironwood. There we go. Okay, sorry. All right. We dined on roasted venison that night. Though I knew it was foolish, I didn't object when each of us had a small second helping until I declared the meat off limits. I'd spend tomorrow preparing the deer remaining for the parts for consumption. Then I'd allot a few hours to currying up both hides before taking them to the market. I knew a few vendors who might be interested in such a purchase, though neither of them would likely give me the fee I deserve. But money was money, and I didn't have the time or the funds to travel to the nearest large town to find a better offer. I sucked on the tines of my fork, savoring the remnants of the fat coating of the metal. God, you know you poor. You listen all. We have all been through the ramen eras, okay, where you got to live off the ramen. We've all been through the ramen era. Some of us has been through the sugar sandwiches, the fried bologna, the Spam. But I don't know if I've ever been poor to where I have to savor the fat off my fork tines. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I've had some rough times, but I've never had that rough of a damn time. Wow. I sucked on the tines of my fork, saving the remnants of the fork coat. My tongue slipped over the cooked prongs, the forked part of the shabby set my father had salvaged from the servants. Quarters while the creditors ransacked our manor home. None of our utensils matched, but it was better than using our fingers. My mother's dowry flatware had long been sold. My mother, perilous with cold of her children, joyous and dazzling amongst her peerage, who frequented our former estate, doting on my father, the one person whom she truly loved and respected. But she had also truly loved parties, so much so that she didn't have time to do anything with me at all save contemplate how my budding activities to sketch and paint might secure me a future husband. Had she long lived enough to see our wealth crumble, she would have been shattered by it, more so by my father. Perhaps it was a merciful thing that she had died. If anything, it was more food for us. God, that's a fucking way to think right there. Ugh. There was nothing left of her in the cottage beyond my ironwood bed and in the vow I'd made. Every time I looked towards a horizon and wondered if I should just walk and never look back. I'd hear the promise I'd made 11 years ago she'd wasted away on her deathbed, staying together and look after them. I had agreed, too young to ask why she'd begged my elder sister or my father, but I'd sworn it to her, and then she died, and in our miserable human world, shielded only by the promise made by the high Fey 5 centuries ago. In our world where we'd forgotten the names of our gods, a promise was law. A promise was currency. A promise was your bond. There were times when I had hated her for asking that vow of me, perhaps delirious with fever. She hadn't even known what she was demanding. Okay. That's something right there. Okay, that's something right there because it says a bond. Okay, it says a okay. She swore to her on her deathbed, the miserable. Okay, yeah, right there. There's something. Okay, shielded only by a promise made by High Fae 5 centuries ago. In our world, we'd forgotten the names of our gods. A promise was laws, promise was currency, promise was your bond. Something there. I don't know. Maybe I am, maybe not. There were times when I hated her for asking that vow of me, perhaps delirious with fever. She hadn't even known what she'd been demanding, or maybe impending death had given her some clarity about the true nature of her children. Her husband. I'd set down the fork and watched the flames of our meager fire dance along the remaining logs, stretching out with my aching legs beneath the table. I turned to my sister as usual. Nesta was complaining about the villagers, bitch. And they had no manners. They had no social grace. They had no idea just how shoddy the fabric of their clothes was, even though they pretended that it was fine as silk or chiffon. Since we had lost our fortune, their former friends, duty-fied, ignored them. So my sisters prodded about, though, as the young peasants of the town made up a second-rate social circle. Forgotten melody? What are we talking about, love? Forgotten melody. What? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? What are we talking? Forgotten melody. Okay. My sister put it down. I took a sip of my hot, the bond thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha. I understand now. Gotcha. I took a sip from my cup of hot water. We couldn't even afford tea these days, as Nesta continued her story to Elaine. Well, I said to him, if you think you can just ask me so nonchalantly, sir, I'm going to decline. And you know what Thomas said? Arms braced on the table, eyes wide. Elaine shook her head. Thomas Mandry? I interrupted. The woodcutter's second son? Nesta's blue-gray eyes narrowed. Yes, she said, and shifted to address Elaine again. What does he want? I glanced at my father. No reaction. Dad, if I didn't know what you... no hint of alarm or sign that he was even listening, lost to whatever fog of memory had crept over him. He was smiling mildly as his beloved Elaine. The only one of us who bothered to really speak to him at all. He wants to marry me. Wait, he wants to marry her, Elaine said dreamingly. I blinked. Next, cocked her head. I'd seen a predator use that move before. I sometimes wondered if her unrelentless steel would have helped us better survive, thrive even, if hadn't been so preoccupied with our lost status. Is there a problem, Feyre? She flung my name like an insult, and my jaw ached from clenching it so hard. My father shifted in his seat, blinking as though I knew it was foolish to react to her taunts. I said, you can't chop wood for us, but you want to marry a woodcutter's son? Nesta squared her shoulders. I thought all of you wanted was for us to get out of this house, to marry off me and Elaine, so you can have time to paint your glorious masterpieces. She sneered at the pile of the fire glove. I painted along the edge of the table, the colors too dark and too blue, none of the white flecking inside the trumpets. I had made do. I'd even had to kill me not to have white paint, to make something so flawed and lasting. I drowned the urge to cover up the paint with my hand. Maybe tomorrow I'd just scrape it off the table altogether. Believe me, I said to her, the day you want to marry someone worthy, I'll march up to his house and hand you over, but you're not going to marry Thomas. Nesta's nostrils delicately flared. There's nothing you can do. Claire better... Sorry. Claire Better told me this afternoon that Thomas is going to propose to me any day now, and then I'll never have to eat these scraps again. she added with a small smile. At least I don't have to resort to rutting in the hay with Isaac Hale like an animal. My father let out an embarrassing cough, looking to court by the fire. He never said a word against Nesta, from either fear or guilt, and apparently he wasn't going to start now, even if it was his first he was hearing of Isaac. I laid my palms flat on the table and I stared her down. Elaine removed her hand from where it lay nearby, as if the dirt and blood beneath my fingernails would somehow jump onto her porcelain skin. Thomas's family is barely better off than ours, I said, trying to keep from growling. You'd be just another mouth to feed. If he doesn't even know this, then his parents must. You'd just be another mouth to feed. If he doesn't know this, then his parents must. But Thomas knew we'd run into the forest before. I'd seen the gleam of desperate hunger in his eyes, and when he'd spotted me sporting a brace of rabbits. I'd never killed another human. But that day, my hunting knife had fell on the weight at my side. I'd kept it out of the way ever since. We can't afford a dowry, I continued, though my tone was firm, my voice quieted. For either of you. If Nesta wanted to leave, then fine. Good. I'd be one step closer to attaining that glorious, peaceful future, to attain a quiet house and enough food and time to paint. But we had nothing. Absolutely nothing. To trace any suitor to take my sister off my hands. We're in love, Nesta declared. I declare love! And Elaine nodded her agreement. I almost laughed when they had gone from mooning over Aristos to making doe-eyed at peasants. Love? We don't feed a hungry belly. Love won't feed a hungry belly, I countered, keeping my gaze as sturdy as possible. As if I'd struck her, Nesta leapt from her seat on the bench. You're just jealous. I heard her say on how Isaac is going to marry some Greenfield village girl for some handsome dowry. So had I. Isaac had ranted about her the first time we met. Jealous? I said slowly, digging down deep to bury my fury. We have nothing to offer them. No dowry, no livestock, even. While Thomas might want to marry you, you're a burden. What do you even know, Nesta breathed? You're just a half-wild beast with the nerve to bark. See, that half-wild beast, like that's saying like, I don't know, I just like she knows they're not sisters. I don't know, sorry. You're a half-wild beast with the nerve to bark in order all hours of the days and night. Keep up, and someday, Feyre, you'll have no one left to remember you or to care that you ever existed. She stormed off. God, you're a bitch. She stormed off, Elaine darting after her, coying for her sympathy. They slammed the door to the bedroom hard enough to rattle the dishes. I heard her words before, and she knew she only repeated them because I'd flinched the first time she spat them. They still burned away. I took a long sip from a chipping mug. The wooden bench beneath my father groaned as she shifted. I took another swallow and said, You should talk some sense into her. He examined a burn mark on the table. What can I say? If it's love, it can't be love. Not this part. Not with his wretched family. I've seen the way he acts around the village. There's one thing he wants from her, and it's not her hand in. We all hope as much as we needed bread and meat, he interrupted. Oh, I just elbow drop from the top rope coming into Dad. I tell you what, his eyes were clear for a rare moment. We need hope. Where else can we endure? I hate him right now. Oh, I despise this man right now. So let her keep this hope, Feyre. Let her imagine a better life. A better world, a better life, a better world. A better life, a better world. A better life, a better world. I stood from the table, fingers curling into fists, but there's nowhere to run in our two-room cottage. I looked at the discolored foxglove painting at the edge of the table. The outer trumpets were already chirped and faded. The lower bit of the stem rubbed off entirely. Within a few years, it would be gone. Leave no mark it had ever been there, that I had ever been there. When I looked at my father, my gaze was hard. There's no such thing. End of chapter 2. I'm not going to lie, that right there, imagine a life, a better world, y'all. That's the first time it pops up. That's the first time it pops up. Ha ha, let's get it spinning. All right. Let's go. Thank you for the rose, love. Thank you. Wow, we got 16 people in here tonight. 17K likes. Dang, y'all are killing it tonight. What do we got? What do we got? It's another rune.
Rune Danon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae.
All right. What a night, y'all. What a night. Ooh, what a good night so far. We've had a couple special guests come in here. We've had a couple new followers come in. It's a great night all around. What can you say? Good story, good books, good people. Winner, winner, chicken frickin' dinner. You know what I mean? Ooh, oh, M, in folklore tales, if there's foxglove, it means there are fairies nearby. Nice! See, I did not know that. Thank you for that knowledge. There you go. Ooh, okay, what did DW? I missed a few things. Okay, hang on a second. I want to make sure I didn't see anything. Okay, hang on. Huh? A better world, yeah. Yeah, I highlighted that too. I was like, yeah, life and imagine a better world. I was like, that's the first time. Papa, you're gonna cry in a limo. Half wild beast, I think, is more of like what Feyre sees in the Ouroboros smear. I dig it, Feyre being illiterate. Okay. Ah, I see what you're saying. I got you. I got you. Okay. Nice. All right. Are we ready? Half-Old Chapter 3. Did Bose drop in here really quick? No way. If I'm hoping I'm missing everybody that gets in. Ashley's back. Welcome back. Back again. Ashley's back. Still a friend. All right. Chapter 3. Let's get to it. Chapter 3. The trampled snow coating the road into our village was specked with brown and black from the passing carts and horses. Elaine and Nesta clicked their tongues in grimaces as we made our way along it, dodging the particular disgusting parts. I knew why they'd come. They'd taken one look at the hides. I'd folded into my satchel and grabbed their cloaks. I didn't bother talking to them, as they hadn't deigned to speak to me after last night. Though Nesta had awoken at dawn and chopped wood, probably because she knew I'd be selling the hides at the market today and would go home with money in my pocket. I got one hand in my pocket, and Nesta is still a fucking bitch. They trailed me down the lone road winding through the snow-covered fields all the way into the ramshacked village. The stone houses of the village were ordinary and dull, made grimmer by the bleakness of winter. But it was market day, which meant the tiny square in the center of town would be full of whatever vendors had braved the brisk morning. From a block away, the scent of hot foods wafted by spices that tugged at the edge of my memory, beckoning. Elaine let out a low moan. Behind me, spices, salt, sugar, rare commodities for our village, impossible for us to afford. If I didn't well at the market, perhaps I'd have enough to buy some delicious spices. I'd opened my mouth to suggest it, but we turned the corner and nearly stumbled into another as we halted. May the immortal light shine upon these, sisters, said the pale-robed young woman directly in our path. These bitches. Nesta and Elaine clicked their tongues. I stiffed a groan. Perfect. Exactly what we needed to have the children of the blessed in town on market day, distracting and riling everyone. The village elders usually allowed them to stay for only a few hours, but the sheer presence of their fanatic fools who still worship the high fae made people edgy. Made me edgy. Long ago, the high fae had been overlords, not gods, and they certainly hadn't been kind. The young woman extended the moon-white hands in a gesture of greeting, a bracelet of silver bells, real silver, twinkling at her wrist. Have a moment to spare so that you might hear the word of the blessed? No, Nesta snarled, ignoring the girl's hands and nudging Elaine into a walk. We don't. The young woman unbound dark hair gleamed in the morning light. Her clean, fresh face glowed as she smiled prettily. There were 5 other acolytes behind her, young men and women both, their long, uncut, all scanning the market beyond the young folk to pester. Sorry, that was a hyphened word. The young folk to pester. It would take but a minute, the woman said, stepping into Nesta's path. It was impressive, truly impressive, to see Nesta go ramrod straight to square her shoulders and look down her nose at a young acolyte and queen without a throne. Go spew your fanatic nonsense to some ninny. You'll find no converts here. The girl shrank back, a shadow flickering in her brown eyes. Irene, my wince. Perhaps not the best way to deal with them, since they could become a true nuisance if agitated. Nesta lifted a hand, pushing down the sleeves of her coat to show the iron bracelet there, the same one Elaine wore. They'd bought matching adornments years ago. The acolyte's grasped, eyes wide. You see this? Nesta hissed, taking a step forward. The acolyte retreated a step. This is what you should be wearing, not some silver bells to attract those fairy monsters. How dare you wear that vile affront to our immortal friends? Go preach in another town, Nesta spat. 2 plump and pretty farmers' wives strolled past their way to the market, arm in arm. As they neared the acolytes, their faces twisted with identical expressions of disgust. Fairy-loving whore, one of them hurled at the young woman. I couldn't disagree. Ooh, Feyre, that's gonna come back to bite you in a minute, isn't it? Sorry. The acolytes kept silent. The other villagers, wealthy enough to have a full necklace of braided iron around her throat, narrowed her eyes, her upper lip curling back from her teeth. Don't you idiots understand what those monsters did to us for all those centuries? What they still do for sport when they can get away with it? You deserve the end you'll meet at fairy hands. Fools and whores. All of you. Nesta nodded in agreement to the women as they continued on their way. We turned back to the young woman still lingering before us, and even Elaine frowned in distaste. But the young woman took a breath. Her face again became serene and said, I lived in such ignorance too, until I heard the word of the blessed. I grew up in a village so similar to this, so bleak and grim. But not for 1 month ago, a friend of my cousin went to the border as our offerings to Prythian, and she has not been sent back. Now she dwells in the riches and comforts of the high-faced brides, and so might you, if you take a moment too. She was likely eaten, Nesta said. That's why she hasn't returned. See, this is when Nesta's bitch mode is fucking hilarious, and it's great. Or worse, I thought. If a high fae truly was involved in spiriting humans into Prithia, I'd never encounter the cruel human-looking high fae who ruled Prythium himself, or the faes who occupied their lands, with their scales and wings and long, spindly arms that could drag you deep, deep beneath the surface of a forgotten pond. I don't know which would be worse face. I don't know which would be worse to face. The acolyte's face tightened. Our beloved masters would never harm us. Prythian is a land of peace and plenty. Should they bless you with their attention, you would be glad to live amongst them. Nesta rolled her eyes. Elaine was shooting glances between us and the market ahead, to the villages now watching too. Time to go. Nesta opened her mouth again, but I stepped between them and ran an eye along the girl's pale blue robe, the silver jewelry on her, the utter cleanliness of her skin, not a mark or smudge to be found. You're fighting an uphill battle, I said. A worthy cause? The girl beamed beatifically. The girl beamed beatifically. Beatifically? That's what that says, right? Beatifically. Yeah. Okay, I'm just making sure that's what that word says. Like, I'm beatifically. Maybe I'm just saying it wrong, right? I think you're saying it silly too. I'm just beautifully. All right. This is a funny word.
There you go.
Be-
Beautifically.
Beautifically. Ah. Okay. Beautifically. Ah. Thank you. Hey, that's why we here, y'all. Hey.
Alright, we got this.
Hey. Y'all look
Yes,
me.
sir.
Y'all know me. I admit it. Hey. We on the struggle bus together, folks. Anyway, I digress. I gave Nesta a gentle push to get her walking and said to the acolyte, "No, it's not." I could feel the acolyte's attention still fixed on us as we strode into the busy market square, but I didn't look back. I'm not gonna lie, when I see Nesta talking to these acolytes, I just think of her and Ianthe. Like that's the image that sorry. They'd be gone soon enough, off to preach into another town. We'd have to take the long way out of the village to avoid them. When we were far enough away, I glanced over the shoulder of my sisters. Elaine's face remained set in a wince, but Nesta's eyes were stormy, her lips thin. I wonder if she stomped back to the girl and pick a fight. Not my problem. Not right now. Not my monkey, not my circus. I'll meet you here in an hour, I said. She didn't give them time to cling to me before slipping into the crowded square. It took me 10 minutes to contemplate my three options. There were my usual buyers, the wealthy cobbler, the sharp-eyed clothier who came to our market from a nearby town, and then the unknown, a mountain of a woman sitting on the lip of a broken square fountain without a cart or stall, but looking like she was holding court nonetheless. The scars of weapons on her marked her easily enough. A mercenary. I could feel the eyes of the cobbler and the clothier on me, senses their feigned disinterested as they took in the satchel I bore. Fine, it would be that sort of day then. I approached the mercenary, whose thick dark hair was shorn to her chin. Dark-haired chin. All right, we all know this one. We all got our shit right here, right? We all got our theories. All right, so that's page 25. That's when the mercenaries, we are verifying she does black hair right at her chin. Okay, whose thick dark hair, shorn chin. Hoobie, don't cat butt me right now. Her tan face, hued granite black eyes narrowed. Hubie, don't you cat. Hubie!
Oh, she got YouTube for sure.
Obi, she might have got the YouTube. Damn it! YouTube got the cat butt. I'm sorry. Ah! All right.
Poopy Lynn.
Ah, girlfriend.
She wanted to make her debut.
Ah.
That's our reread,
All right. Her tan face seemed a hue of granite. Her black eyes narrowed slightly at the sight of me. Such interesting eyes, not just one shade of black, but many, with hints of brown that glimmered amongst the shadows. I pushed against the useless parts of my mind. What's up, boo? Glimmered against the shadows. I pushed against the useless part of my mind, the instincts that had me thinking about the color, the light, and the shape, and kept my shoulders back as she assessed me the potential threat or employer. The weapons on her gleamed and wicked were enough to make me swallow and stop a good 2 feet away. Thank you all for the gifts have come in. I appreciate that so very much. I don't barter goods for my services, she said, her voice clipped with an accent I've never heard before. I only accept coin. A few passing villagers tried their best to not look nor interested in our conversation, especially, I said. Then you'll be out of luck in this sort of place. She was a massive, even sitting down. What's your business with me, girl? That sounds like Fury. Doesn't it? Is it Fury? Who is it?
Is Fury a mountain of a woman?
That's what I'm saying. Fury doesn't seem like a mountain. Everybody says that's Fury, but Fury's not a mountain of a woman. But again, a mountain of a woman to Feyre. You know what I mean? Oh, you come on. Don't. Hobie. You are Hobie. Girlfriend. All right, folks. Sorry. She is. Woo, girl. Your only pause has not been approved yet. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Your
Sorry. All right. So we agree. I mean, a lot of people say it's Fury or Armin because of the hair, but again, the mountain of the woman. All right. So we'll have to. All right, and we'll have the magic or glamour too. That's right. All right, well, that's another pin. That's another pin. We'll figure it out, folks. We will figure it out. Yeah. DW I don't wait. Did somebody say DW was scribing this series for notes? Is that I don't want to volunteer anybody. Y'all know me, but that's another one. I think we need to. Okay, I think that's another one for sure, my friend. Scribe in the house. That's definitely another one we need to look into right there. Is definitely more into the mercenary because the size difference. So that should eliminate unless there's a glamour. Okay. Ooh, back on to me. Where we go? The eyes. That's going to be the clue right there. It's going to be the eyes. Such interesting eyes, not just one shade of black, but many with hints of brown that gleamed against the shadows. I paused against that useless part of my mind. What if she's an Asteri? And kept my shoulders back as she assessed me as a potential threat or employer. The weapons on her gleamed and wicked, even enough to make me swallow and stop a good 2 feet away. I don't barter for goods or services. Oh, we were there. You'll be out of luck in this town. What's your business with me? She could have been aged anywhere from 25 to 30. 25 to 30 years old. Okay, mountain 25 to 30 in the eyes. There we go. But I supposed I looked like a girl to her in my layers, gangly from hunger. I have a wolf pelt and a doe hide for sale. I thought you might be interested in purchasing them. You steal them? No. I held her stare. I hunted them myself. I swear it. She ran those dark eyes down me again. How? Not a question. A command. But somehow... But perhaps someone who had encountered others who did not see vows as sacred words as wait, is that the right page? Yeah, okay, yep. As a command. Perhaps someone who not encountered others who did not see vows as sacred words as bonds and had punished them accordingly. So I told her how I'd brought them down. And when I'd finished, she'd flicked a hand toward my satchel. Let me see. I pulled out both care. That line right there. Perhaps someone who has encountered others who did not see vows as sacred or words as bonds. I don't know why, but I don't know why. I'm sorry. That maybe it's just because I misread it 3 times, but something. Sorry. Let me see. And pulled out the careful folds and hides. We were laying about the wolf size, she murmured. Doesn't seem like Feyre, though. She examined them with an expert eye, running her hand over and under. She named her price. I blinked. A bit strife, the urge to blink a second time. She was overpaying. By a lot. She looked it beyond me, past me. I assuming those 2 girls watching from across the square are your sisters? You all have that brassy hair and that hungry look about you. Indeed, they were still trying their best to eavesdrop without being spotted. I don't need your pity. No, but you need my money. And the other traders have been cheap all morning. Everyone's too distracted by those half-calf-eyed zealot belots across the square. She jerked her chin towards the children of the blessed, still ringing their silver bells, silver bells, silver bells, and jumping into the path of anyone who tried to walk by. The mercenary was smiling faintly when I turned back to her. Up to you, girl. Why? She struggled. Someone once did the same for me and mine at a time when we needed it the most. Someone once did the same for me once, someone at a time when I needed it the most. Figured it's time to repay what's due. Okay, that's right there. Right there. What is that right there? That right there. Someone once did, in my book it's 26. Someone once did the same for me and mine at the time when I needed it the most. Figure it was time to repay what's due. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You're talking about, she's talking about Aelin. Excuse me. Right, yeah. DW's popping with you too in the comment. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay. So there we go. Maybe it's just a comparison how the two, but that there I mean there's something. All right, I watched again, Wang. My father has some wood carvings that I would give you as well to make it more fair. I travel light and have no need for them. These, however, she patted the pelts in her hand, save me trouble of having to kill them myself. I nodded, my cheeks heated as she reached for the coin purse inside her heavy coat. It was full and weighed down with at least silver, possible gold. If clinging was any indication, mercenaries tend to be paid in our territory. Be well paid in our territory. Our territory was small and poor to maintain a standing army to monitor the wall within Prynthian, and and we villagers could rely only on the strength of the treaty forged 500 years ago. But the upper class could afford hired swords, like this woman, to guard their lands bordering their mortal realm. It was an illusion of comfort, just as the markings on our threshold were. We all knew, deep down, that there was nothing to be done against the fairies. We'd all been told it, regardless of class or rank, from the moment we were born. The warnings sung to us while we rocked in cradles, the rhymes chanted in schoolyards. One of the high fae could turn the bones to dust 100 yards away. Not that my sister or I had ever seen it. But we still tried to believe that something, anything, might work against them. If we were to encounter them, there were 2 stalls in the market catering the fears, offering up charms and babbles and incantations and bits of iron. I couldn't afford them, and if they did indeed work, they would buy us only a few minutes to prepare ourselves. Running was futile, so was fighting, but Nesta and Elaine still wore their iron bracelets whenever they left the cottage. Even Isaac had an iron cuff around one wrist, always tucked under his sleeve. He'd once offered to buy me one, but I refused. It had felt too personal, too much like payment, too permanent, a reminder of whatever we were and weren't to each other. The mercenary transferred the coins to my waiting palm. I tucked them into my pocket, their weight as heavy as a millstone. There was no possible chance that my sister hadn't spotted the money. No chance, that's what you got. No chance they weren't already wondering how they might persuade me to give them some. Thank you, I said to the mercenaries, trying and failing to keep the bite from my voice as I felt my sister sweep closer, like vultures circling a carcass. Hmm? Dust, mist, interchangeable? I'm sorry, what? Ah. Yes, yes, yes. Turning bones to dust. Yeah, that could be the mist, you know, some on the bat. Okay. We know a guy. I know a guy. I got you. I like what you're putting down. All right, Jessica, thanks for stopping by. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate ya. The mercenary spoke. The mercenary stroked the wolf pelt. A word of advice from one hunter to another. I lifted my brows. Don't go far into the woods. I wouldn't even get close to where you were yesterday. A wolf this size would be the least of your problems. More and more I've been hearing stories about those things slipping through the wall. A chill spider walked down my spine. Are they going to attack? If it were true, they'd find a way to get my family out miserable. Damp territory. Head south. Head far from the invisible wall that bisected our world before they could cross it. Once, long ago, In the millennia before that, we had been slaves to the high Fey overlords. Once we had built them glorious, spiraling civilizations from our blood and sweat, built them temples to their feral gods, my voices. Once they had rebelled across the lands and territories. The wars had been so bloody, so destructive, that it took 6 mortal queens, bitches, crafting the treaty for the slaughter to cease on both sides for the wall to be constructed. The north of our world conceded to the high fae and fairies, who took their magic with them. The south to we cowering mortals, forever forced to scratch out a living from the earth. What feral gods did they have? That's a good question. Or do you just want to be one of their feral gods there, Madame Q? No one knows what the Fae are planning, the mercenary said, her face like stone. We don't know if the High Lord's leash on their beast is slipping, or if these are targeted attacks. I guarded an old nobleman who claimed it had been getting worse these past 50 years. He got on a boat south 2 weeks ago and told me I should leave if I was smart. Before he sailed off, he admitted that he had been word from one of his friends that in the dead of the night, a pack of Martax crossed the wall and tore half his village apart. Martax, I breathed. I knew there were different types of fairies, and they varied as much as any other species of animals, but I knew only few by name. MJ, welcome, love, welcome! The mercenary's night dark eyes flickered. Bodies big as a bear, head something like a lion, and 3 rows of teeth sharper than a shark's, and meaner than all 3 put together. They left villagers in literal ribbons, the nobleman said. My stomach turned. Behind us, my sister seemed so fragile, their pale skin so infinite, delicate, shreddable. Against something like the Martax, we never stood a chance. Those children of the blessed were fools, frantic fools. So we don't know what all these attacks mean. The mercenaries went on. Others hires for me, and you're keeping well away from the wall, especially if the high fae start turning up, or worse, one of the high lords. Dun, dun, dun. They would make the Martax seem like dogs. I studied her scarred hands, chopped from the cold. Have you ever faced another type of fairy? Her eyes shuddered. You don't want to know, girl. Not unless she'll be hurling up your breakfast. I was indeed feeling ill and jumpy. Was it deadlier than a Martax, I dare ask? The woman pulled back the sleeve of her heavy jacket, revealing a tanned, muscled forearm flecked with gruesome, twisting scars. All right, so the mercenary, mountain, short hair, and then she's got the scar on the forearm, twisting scars. Okay. It's definitely not one of those 2. We know that. That clears that one. And the ribbons, what you got? What you got with the, ooh, yeah, the ribbons. I see what you're saying. Oh, thank you for the row. Thank you for the heart. Thank you for the heart. All right. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. Twisted scars, the arc of them, so similar too. Didn't have the brute force or size of the Martax, she said, but it was a bite full of poison. 2 months, that's how long I was down. 4 months until I had the strength to walk again. She pulled the leg up of her trousers. Beautiful, I thought, even as a horror as it ripped in my gut. Against her tan skin, the veins were black, solid black, spiderweb like creeping frost. Healer said there was nothing to be done, that I'm lucky I'd be walking with the poison still in my leg. Maybe it'd kill me one day, maybe it'll cripple me. But at least I know I'm going. But at least I'll go knowing I killed it first. That sounds like a stega spider. That sounds like the Stygian spiders, y'all. That sounds like the spiders. That sounds like those spiders, right? Who else had spiders in their legs, guys? What you got, DW? What are we talking about? Spiders in my legs. What you mean? There's a spider in Lord of the Rings. Bryce. Ah. Ooh. Lysandra's uncle. DW saying Bryce, we got Lysandra's uncle. Bryce had Crystallis demon poison. That's right. That's right. She's a mountain who wants to die. Interesting. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. The blood in my own veins seems to chill as she lowered the cuff of her pants. If anyone in the square had seen, no one dared speak. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
Welcome to the dark side.
Welcome to the chaos. We have cookies and rune. And it had enough for one day, so I took a step back, steadying myself against what she had told me. Thanks for the warning, I said. Her attention flicked behind me, and she gave faintly amused smile. Good luck. Then a slender hand clamped my forearm, dragging me away. Calgon, take me away. I knew it was Nesta before I even looked at her. They're dangerous, Nesta hissed, bitch. Her fingers digging into my arm, and she continued to pull me from the mercenary. Don't go near them again. Oh, Nesta. Oh, Nesta, my friend. Oh, I stared at her for a moment, then at Elaine, whose face had gone pale and tight. Is there something I need to know? I asked quietly. I couldn't remember the last time Nesta had tried to warn me about anything. Elaine was the only one she'd bother to really look after. They're brutes. They will take any copper they can get, even if it's by force. I glanced at the mercenary, who was still examining her new pelts. She robbed you? Not her, Elaine murmured. Some other one who passed through. We only had a few coins, and he got mad, but why didn't you report him or tell me? What could you have done? Nesta snared. Challenged him to a fight with your bow and arrow? And who is this sewer of a town would even care if we reported anything? What about your Thomas Mandry? I said coolly. Nesta's eyes flashed, but a moment behind me caught her eye, and she gave what I was supposed to as her attempt as a sweet smile. Probably as she remembered the money I now carried. Oh, God, Nesta, you're a bitch. Your friend is waiting for you. I turned. Indeed, Isaac was watching from across the square, arms crossed as he leaned against the building. Though the eldest son, only farmer in our village, he was lean from the winter and his brown hair had turned shaggy, relatively handsome, soft-spoken and reserved, but with some sort of darkness running beneath it had drawn us to each other, that shared understanding of how wretched our lives were and would always be. We'd vaguely known each other for years, since my family had moved to the village, but I had never thought much about him until we wound up walking down the main road together one afternoon. We'd only talked about eggs he was bringing to market, and I'd admired the variation in color within the basket he bore. Browns and tans and the palest blues and greens. Simple, easy, perhaps a bit awkward, but he left me in my cottage feeling not quite so alone. A week later, I pulled him into the decrepit barn. Oh, Feyre. He'd been my first and only lover in the 2 years since. Oh, my sweet summer child. Sometimes we met every night for a week. Others we'd go a month without seeing eyes on each other. But every time was the same, a rush of shredding clothes and shredding breaths and tongues and teeth. Occasionally we'd talk, or rather, he'd talk about the pressures and burdens of his father placed on him. Often we wouldn't say a word other than the entire time. I couldn't say our lovemaking was particularly skilled, but it was still a release. A reprieve, a bit of selfishness. There was no love between us, and never had been, at least what I assumed people meant when they talked about love. Yet part of me had sunk when he said he would soon be married. I wasn't yet desperate enough to ask him to see me after he was wed. Isaac inclined his head in a familiar gesture and then ambled off down the street. out of town into the ancient barn, where he would be waiting, where we were never inconspicuous about our dealings with each other. But we didn't take measure to keep from being too obvious. But we did take measures to keep from being too obvious. Nesta clicked her tongue, crossing her arms. I do hope you two are taking precautions. It's a bit late to pretend to care, I said. But we are careful. Since I couldn't afford it, Isaac himself took the contraceptive brew. You sure about that? You sure about that? He knew I wouldn't have touched him otherwise. I reached into my pocket and drawed out 20 mark copper. Elaine sucked in a breath, and I didn't bother to look at either of my sisters as I pushed it into her palm. I'll see you at home. Later, after another dinner of venison, when we were all gathered around the fire for quite an hour in bed, I watched my sister whispering, laughing together. They'd spent every copper I'd given them on what I didn't know, though Elaine had brought back a new chisel for our father's wood carving. The cloak and boots they'd whined about the night before had been too expensive, but I hadn't scoffed them for it. Not when Nesta went out a second time to chop more wood without asking. Mercifully, they avoided another confrontation with the children of the blessed. My father was dozing in his chair, his cane laid across his gnarled knee. As good a time as to broach the subject of Thomas Mandry with Nesta. I turned to her, opening my mouth, but there was a roar of a half deafening me. My sister screamed, "Ah!" As the snow burst into the room, an enormous growling sheep appeared in the doorway. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry, Hobie. What's happening? I woke the cat up. I'm sorry. All right, let's get that. What do we got? All right. Woo, got 19 people in here tonight joining me. We got the 20K. I appreciate y'all coming in here. Oh, what do we got? Oh my God, Rune, my God.
Rune Dannon.
What is
Crown Prince of the Balbaran Fae.
What is happening here, guys? All right. Excuse me. So what are we saying? All right. Let's catch up with the chat really quick. All right. So we're saying the spider bite. Oh, we're saying the leg damage might be the crystallos or the spiders. I like that. I like those ideas. Hopefully we got those scribed down. We can look into that a little bit deeper. Ooh, DW, you were thinking of the Ritterak from Throne of Glass down in the basement. Did the Ritterak leave the black poison? It did. That's another thing. So we got the chrysalis, the Ritterak, and the spiders to look into. I'm sorry? That's what we'll have to remember what Princess Nene did. We'll have to remember. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Okay. So then let's see. So then we got down, Emily. So there's a theory that Maeve was married to an unnamed prince of hell. Ooh, okay. We'll have to look into that one. We'll put that on the board. Fucking Maeve. All right. Obey and worship her. There are 7 prison and right. And yeah, we've only got the 3 from Crescent City. Correct. Erewhon is not a prince of hell though, because Erewhon was from the other land, right? All right, Dr. Lego, have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate ya. So, ooh. You see, Erewhon and his two brothers, they were from the other land, and then Maeve made the ward and they came through the one. So, right, and Maeve was married to the older brother. Right. But I don't think those brothers were I mean, those brothers might have been princes of hell because they always said the princes of hell were out doing other things. So there is that possibility. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, when they did in Crescent, when they talked about the princes of hell, they're all out doing other things. Now, some of us assume that it could be maybe Az is an unknown prince of hell or something like that. But those three brothers might be princes of hell. Bruce, I love that you jump along in here, Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Bruce has no idea what I'm saying, but he knows what I'm saying because he knows I'm saying it. That's all I'm saying. Maybe Bruce has read the book. Maybe Bruce read the book. Bruce? I don't think Bruce read the book, though. All right. All right. He's like, I have not. Bruce is too busy. Bruce has got things to do. That's all right. Bruce has me to read the book to him. That's why Bruce is here. All right. Moving on. Oh, wait. DW coming in, dropping in right here. I think the Valg are the Astri and the Daglin, but the princes of the hell are different. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that one. Bruce is fixing. You've been fixing code since I met you, brother. You've been fixing code since I met you. But DW, that's a good theory. That's another one to pop in for us to look into. All right. Let's get on to chapter 4. Excuse me. Here we go. Chapter 4. Oh no, what?
There's this guy that I really don't like, and apparently he did something really bad, so now I get to hear from.
Oh, nice. I like it. I like it when your nemesis are failing.
I need a cookie.
Go get a cookie. All right, I love you. Mwah. I need your cookie. Anyway, sorry. Digressing. Anyway, chapter 4, let's go. I didn't know how the wooden hilt of my hunting knife had gotten into my hand. The first few moments were a blur of the snarling of a gigantic beast with golden fur and shrieking of my sister. The blistering cold cascading into the room. My father, terror-stricken face. Not a Martax, I realized, though the relief was short-lived. The beast had to be large as a horse. And while his body was somewhat feline, his head was distinctively wolfish. I didn't know what to make of the curled elk-like horns that protruded from his head, but a lion or a hound or an elk. There was no doubting the damage his black dagger-like claws and yellow fangs could inflict. I had been alone in the woods. I might have let myself been swallowed by fear, might have fallen to my knees and wept for a clean, quick death, but I did not have room for terror. I would not give an inch of space, despite my heart's wild pounding in my ears. Somehow, I wound up in front of my sisters. God, the youngest one is in front of the sisters. Dad's on the ground crying like a little bitch. Even as the creature reared in his hind legs and bellowed through the maw full of fangs. Murderers! But it was another word that echoed through me. Feyre. Also, okay, DW says, also, can we discuss how the pack of wolves, how the pack of devil, wolves pack tattoo is Tamlin's. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, DW. Yeah. We're going to have a lot to talk about on Thursday, y'all. All right. Write that down. That's for Thirsty Thursday. Thirsty Theory Thursdays, folks. Join us for then where we discuss a lot of this stuff. All right. Let's carry on. Oh, here we go. Yes. Those ridiculous words on our thresholds were as good as cobwebs against him. I should have asked the mercenary how she'd kill that fairy. But the beast's thick neck, that looked like a good home for my knife. I dared to glance over my shoulder, my sister screaming, "Ah!" Kneeling against the wall of my hearth, my father crouched in front of them, another body for me to defend. Stupidly, I took another step toward the ferry, keeping the table between us, fighting a shaking in my hand, my bow and quiver across the room past the beast. I'd have to get around him to reach the ash arrow, to buy myself enough time to fire it. "Murderers!" the beast roared again, hackles raised. "Please," my father babbled from behind, failing to find it in himself to come inside. "Whatever we have done, we did so unknowingly, and we didn't kill anyone," Nesta added, choking her sobs, arms lifted over her head. "Oh, you were a bitch earlier, but now look at you." And if that tiny iron bracelet would do anything against the creature, I snatched another dinner knife off the table, the best I could do unless I found a way to get to the quiver. "Get out!" I snapped at the creature, banishing the knife before me. No iron in sight that I could use as a weapon, unless I chunked my sister's bracelet at him. "Get out and be gone!" With my trembling hands, I could barely keep my grip on the hilt. A nail. I'd take the damn iron nail if it were available. He bellowed at me in a response, and the entire cottage shook, the plates and cups rattling against one another, but it left a massive neck exposed. I hurled my hunting knife, fast, so fast I could barely see it. He slashed out with the paw, sending it skittering away as he snapped my face with his teeth. I leapt back, almost stumbling over my cowering father. The fairy could have killed me. Could have. Yet he lunged, had been a warning. Nesta and Elaine, weeping, prayed to whatever whatever forgotten gods might be sulking about him. "Who killed him?" the creature sulked towards. He set a paw on the table and groaned beneath him, his claws thudded as they embedded in the woods, one by one. I dared another step forward as the beast stretched his snout over the table and sniffed us. His eyes were green and flecked with amber, not animal eyes, not with their shape and coloring. My voice was surprisingly as I challenged. "Killed who?" He groaned low and vicious. "The wolf," he said, my heart stumbling a beat. The roar was gone, but the wrath lingered, perhaps even traced with sorrow. Elaine wailed, reached a high-pitched shriek. I kept my chin up. "A wolf. A large wolf with a gray coat," he snarled in response. Would he know if I lied? Fairies couldn't lie. All mortals knew that. But they could smell the lies on human tongues. We had no chance of escaping through fighting, but there might be another way. "If it was mistakenly killed," I said it best calmly as I could, "what payment could we offer in exchange?" This was all a nightmare, and I'd awaken in a moment beside the fire, exhausted from my day at the market and after my afternoon with Isaac. The beast let out a bark that could have been a bitter laugh. He pushed off the table in a small circle before the shattered door. The cold was so intense I shivered. The payment you must offer is the one demanded by the treaty of our realms." "For a wolf?" I retorted. My father mumbled his name in warning. Hang on a second. My father murmured my name in warning. I had vague memories of being read the treaty during my childhood lessons, but could recall nothing about wolves. The beast whirled on me. "Who killed the wolf?" I stared into those jaded eyes. "I did." "It was you." "'Twas not you." He blinked and glanced at my sisters, then back at me, at my thinness, no doubt seeing only frailness instead. "Surely you lie to save them." "We didn't kill anything," Elaine wept. "Please, please spare us." Nesta hushed her sharp thoughts, her own sobbing, but pushed Elaine far behind her. Well, she's protecting somebody at least. My chest caved in at the sight of it. My father climbed to his feet, grunting at the pain in his legs as he bobbled. But before he could limp toward me, I repeated, I killed it. The beast who had been sniffing at my sister studied me. I squared my shoulders. I sold his hide at the market today. If I'd have known it was a fairy, I wouldn't have touched it. Liar, he snarled. You knew it. You would have been more tempted to slaughter had you known it was one of my kind. Hey, Ocean, what's up? Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Thank you. True, true, true. Can you blame me? Did it attack you? Were you provoked? I opened my mouth to say yes, but no, I said, letting out a snarl of my own. But considering all of your kind has done to us, considering what your kind still likes to do to us, even if I had known beyond a doubt it was deserved, better to die with my chin held high than growling like a cowering worm. Agree, 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 agree. Even if his answered growling was the definition of wrath and rage, the firelight shone upon his exposed fangs, and I wonder how they feel on my throat, and how loudly his sisters would scream before they, too, died. But I knew, with a sudden uncoiling clarity, that Nesta would buy Elaine time to run. You need a little bit louder? I got you. Here we go. See if that'll... Where was I? Cowering worm. No, you're fine. Even if his answer's growling was the definition of wrath and rage, the firelight shone upon his exposed fingers, and I wonder how they feel on my throat, and how loudly my sisters would scream before they too died. But I knew with a sudden uncoiling clarity that Nesta would buy Elaine time to run. It was okay. Not my father who resented her ever steely heart. Not me, because Nesta had always known and hated that she and I were two sides of the same coin, and that I could fight my own battles. But Elaine, the flower grower, should have been growing potatoes. The gentle heart, Nesta would go down swinging for her. It was a flash of understanding that had me angling my remains at knife at best. What is the payment their treaty requires? His eyes didn't leave my face as he said, a life for a life. Any unprovoked attack on a fairy kind by humans are to be paid only by the human life in exchange. My sisters quieted their weeping. The mercenary in town had killed a fairy, but had attacked her first. I didn't know, I said. I didn't know that part of the treaty. Fairies couldn't lie. He spoke plainly enough, no words twisting. Most you mortals have chosen to forget that part of the treaty, he said, which makes punishing you far more enjoyable. Chodas! Such a swell guy, that man right there. My knees quaked. I couldn't escape this, couldn't outrun this, couldn't even try to run, since he blocked the way to the door. Do it outside, I whispered, my voice trembling. Not here. Not where my family would have to wash away my blood and gore. If he even let them live. The fairy huffed a vicious laugh. Willing to accept your fate so easily? When I just stared at him, he said, having the nerve to request where I slaughter you? I'll let you in on a secret, human. Prythian must claim your life in some way. For that life you took from it, so a representative from the immortal realm. I can either gut you like swine, or you can cross the wall and live out the remainders of your days in Prythian. Take me now, I'm home. Oh! I'm just saying. Don't tease me with a good time.
Well, I mean, you were a Tamlin stand.
We don't talk about that. No, we don't talk about the past. Why are you bringing up old shit? Y'all, she bringing up old shit again. She bringing up old shit again.
I'm just making sure you worked through it properly, okay?
Oh, I worked through my shit with him before, all right. I mean, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. All right. Sorry. Okay, where were we? Now, where were we? All right. Okay, where was I? But did I do it outside? Where's the wall? We went through. Oh, yeah, there we go. I blinked. What? He said slowly, as if I were indeed as stupid as swine. You can either die tonight, or you can offer your life to Prythian by living in it forever, forsaking the human realm. Do it, Feyre, my father whispered from behind. I said that. I wish it would say he whispered before it says the line. Anyway, digressing. Do it, Feyre, my father whispered from behind. Go. I didn't look at him as I said, live where? Every inch of Prythian is lethal to us. I'd be better off dying tonight than living in pure terror across the wall. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. In pure terror across the wall until I met my end in doubtlessly an even more awful way. I have lands, the fairy said quietly, almost reluctantly. I will grant you permission to live there. Why bother? Perhaps a fool's question, but... You murdered my friend, the beast snarled. Murdered him, skinned his corpse, sold it at the market, and then said he deserved it. And yet you have the nerve to question my generosity? Gaslighting ass motherfucker. How typical human, he seemed to see. How typically human, he seemed to silently add. You didn't need to mention the loophole. I stepped so close the fairy's breath heated my face. Fairies couldn't lie. But they could omit information. The beast snarled again. Foolish of me to forget that humans have such low opinions of us. Do you humans no longer understand mercy? He said, his fangs inched from my throat. Let me make this clear for you, girl. You can either live at my home in Prythian, or offer your life for the wolves that way. Or you can walk outside right now and be shredded to ribbons. Your choice. My father's hobbling steps sounded before he gripped my shoulder. Please, good sir, Feyre is my youngest. I beseech you to spare her. She is all. But whatever he meant to say died in his throat as the beast roared again. But fear, those words he managed to get out, the effort he made, it was like a blade to my belly. My father cringed as he said, Please. Silence, the creature snapped, and rage boiled up in me so blistered. It was an effort to keep from lunging to stab my dagger in the eye. But by the time I had so much an arm as raised, raised my arm, I knew he would have maw around my neck. I can get gold, my father said. My rage guttered. The only way he would get money was begging. Even then, he'd be lucky to get a few coppers. I'd seen how pitiless the well-off were in our village. The monsters in our mortal realm were just as bad as those across the wall. The beast sneered. How much is your daughter's life worth to you? Do you think it equates to a sum? Nesta still had Elaine behind her. Elaine's face so pale it matched the snow drifting in the open door. But Nesta monitored every move the beast made. Her brows lowered. She didn't bother to look at my father, as she knew his answer already. When my father didn't reply, I dared another step towards the beast, drawing his attention to me. I had to get him out, get him away from my family, from the way he brushed away my knife, and hopes to escape lay in somehow sneaking up him. With hearing, I doubted it. I'd get any chance anytime soon, at least until he believed I was docile. If I tried to attack him or fled before then, he would destroy my family in the sheer enjoyment of it. Then he would find me again. I had no choice but to go. And then, later, I might find the opportunity to slit the beast's throat, like Arab and Hamill, or at least to disable him long enough to flee. As long as the fairies couldn't find me again, they couldn't hold me to the treaty, even if it made me curse the Oathbreaker. Oathbreaker, huh? Oathbreaker, huh? Cursed Oathbreaker, huh? Even if it made me a cursed Oathbreaker. But going with him, that would be breaking the most important promise I'd ever made. Surely it trumped any ancient treaty I had ever signed. I loosened my grip to the hilt remaining dagger and stared into those green eyes for a long, silent while before I said, "When do we go?" See, DW, picking up what I put down. DW, me and DW, our vibes are waving and our waves are vibing. When do we go? Those lupine features remained fierce, vicious. Any lingering hope I had fighting died as he moved to the door. No to the quiver I'd left behind. He pulled out the ash arrow, sniffed and snarled. With 2 movements, he snapped it in half and chucked it in the fire behind my sisters before turning back to me. I could smell my doom on his breath as he said, "Now." Now? Even Elaine lifted her head to gape at a moment of horror. But I couldn't look at her. Couldn't look at Nesta. Not when they were still crouching there, still silent. I turned to my father. His eyes glistened. So I glistened to the few cabinets we had. Faded 2 yellow daffodils carving over the handles. Now, the beast paced in the doorway. I didn't want to contemplate where I was going or what I would do with me. Running would be foolish until it was the right time. The venison should hold you for 2 weeks, I said to my father as I gathered my clothes to bulk up against the cold. Start on the fresh meat, then work your way through to the jerky. You know how to make it. "Feyre," my father breathed, but as I continued as I fastened my cloak, "I left the money from the pelts on the dresser," I said. "It will last you for a time, if you're careful." I finally looked at my father again, but allowing myself to memorize the lines of his face. My eyes stung, but I blinked the moisture away as I stuffed my hands into my worn gloves. When spring comes, hunt in the grove just south to the Big Bend in Silver Spring Creek. The rabbits make the warrens there. Ask Isaac Hale to show you how to make snares. I taught him this last year. My father nodded, covering his mouth with a hand. The beast growled his warning and prowled into the night. I made to follow him, but paused to look at my sisters, still crouched by the fire, as if they wouldn't dare to move until I was gone. Elaine mouthed my name, but kept cowering, kept her head down, so I turned to Nesta, whose face was so similar to my mother, so cold, so unrelenting. "Whatever you do," I said quietly, "don't marry Thomas Mandry. His father beats his wife, and none of his sons do anything to stop it. Bunch of bitch-ass chodes!" Nesta's eyes widened, but I added, "Bruises are hard to conceal than poverty." Nesta stiffened, but said nothing. Both my sisters said absolutely nothing. As I turned toward the open door, but a hand wrapped around my arm, tugging me into my stop. Turning me around to his face, my father opened and closed his mouth. Outside, the beast sensing had been detained. Scent, a snarl rummaging into the cottage. "Feyre," my father said, his fingers trembling as he grasped my gloved hand, but his eyes became clearer and bolder than I'd seen them in years. "You were always too good for here, Feyre. Too good for us. Too good for everyone." He squeezed my hand. "If you ever escape, ever convince him that you've paid your debt, don't return." I hadn't expected a heart-wrenching goodbye, but I hadn't imagined this either. "Don't ever come back," my father said, releasing my hand to shake me by the shoulders. "Feyre," he stumbled over my name, his throat bobbing. "You go somewhere new. You make a name for yourself." Beyond the beast was just a shadow. A life for a life. But what if the life offered as payment meant losing 3 others? The thought alone was enough to steal me, anchor me. I never told my father of the promise I made my mother, and there was no use explaining it now. So I shrugged off his grip and left. I let the sounds of the snow crunching underfoot drive out my father's words as I followed the beast to the night-shrouded woods. That's gut-wrenching, I ain't gonna lie. What do we got? What do we got? Excuse me. Do. I still say they're descendants from Iron Teeth. Okay, possible. Very possible. Very, very possible. Oh yes, particularly with Nested DW. Exactly.
I only think her.
What?
I think Nest is only a half sister.
You think Nest is the half sister? You think Nest is the half sister?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's the oldest.
Ah.
You wouldn't know.
Oh.
They would just assume it to be so.
That's a good one.
And I think Papa Archeron picked up Mommy Dearest from somewhere and scooped her up.
Ooh. Oh, what do we got?
And then I think baby 2 and 3 were hers and his, but not
That's interesting.
I think she got a different.
That's interesting. Boom. All right, we got one more chapter to go tonight. Same with the same parents not looking. Very true. No, that's true too, Courtney. Very true. Very, very true. Ooh. We'll get a little bit more water right here. Wow. Again, I want to appreciate everybody for all the gifts tonight and all the new. We have 5 new voices that have joined us, so I want to appreciate y'all for coming in and joining us and the new follows. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's get into chapter 5. Every step toward the line of woods was too swift, too light, too soon, carrying me to whatever torment and misery awaited. I didn't dare look back at the cottage. We entered the line of trees. Darkness beckoned beyond. But the white mare was patiently waiting, unbound, beside a tree, her coat like fresh snow in the moonlight. She only lowered her head, as if in respect of all things. As the beast slumbered up to her, he motioned with the giant paw for me to mount. You're going to mount that in a little bit. Still, the horse remained calm, even as he passed close enough to gut her in one swipe. It had been years since I had ridden, and I had only ridden a pony. It's a pony! It's a pony! At that. But I savored the warmth of the horse against my half-frozen body as I climbed into the saddle and she set into a walk. Without light to guide me, I let the trail the beast. They were nearly the same size. I wasn't surprised when we headed northward, toward the fairy territory. Through my stomach clenched so tightly, it ached. Live with him. I could live out the rest of my mortal life on his lands. Perhaps this was merciful. But then, he hadn't specified in what manner exactly I would live. The treaty forbade fairies from taking us as slaves, but perhaps that excluded humans who murdered fairies. We'd likely go to whatever rift in the wall he'd used to get us here to steal me. And once he went through the invisible wall, once we were in Prythian, there was no way for my family to ever find me. I'd be little more than a lamb in a kingdom of wolves. Wolves. Wolf. Murdered a Feyre. That's what I'd done. My throat went dry. I'd killed a fairy. I couldn't bring myself to feel badly about it. Not with my family left behind me to surely starve. Not when it meant one less wicked, awful creature in the world. The beast had burned my ash arrow, so I'd have to rely on luck to even splinter the wood again. If I stand a chance of killing him or slowing him down, knowledge of that weakness, of that susceptibility to ash, was the only reason we'd ever survived against the High Fae during the ancient uprising, a secret betrayal of one of their own. My blood chilled further as uselessly scanned for any signs of a narrow trunk, an explosion of branches that leaned marked ash tree. I'd never seen the forest so still. Whatever was out there had been tamed compared to the beast beside me, despite the horse disease around him. Hopefully, he would keep other fairies away as we entered the realm. Prythian, the word was a death knell that echoed through me again and again. Lands, he said lands, but what kind of dwellings? My horse was beautiful, and its saddle was crafted from rich leather, which meant he had some sort of contact with civilized life. I've never heard the specifics of what the lives of fairies or high fays were like. Never heard much about anything other than their deadly abilities and appetites. I clenched the reins in my hands from shaking. There were few first-hand accounts of Prythian itself. The mortals who went over the wall, either willingly as tributes of the children of the blessed, or stolen, never came back. I learned most of the legends from the villagers through my father had occasionally offered up a milder tale or two on the nights he made an attempt to remember we existed. Chode. As far as we knew, the high fae still governed the northern parts of our world, from our enormous island to the narrow sea separating us from a massive continent against the depthless fjords and frozen wastelands and sand-blasted deserts all the way to the great ocean and on the other sides. Some fairy territories were empires. Some were overseen by kings and queens. Then there were places like Prythia, divided and ruled by the 7 High Lords. Only place... I'm not going... 7 High Lords. A being of such unyielding power that legend claimed they could level buildings, break apart armies, and butcher you before you could blink. I didn't doubt it. I'm just saying, no, that's 7. There's 7 there, but how many Asteri are there? How many were there? There were 8, right? How many? There were 8 Asteri, right? Or was it 7? Was it 7 Asteri or 8? It's the 8-pointed star. I think it's 8. Might be 7. Again with the 7. She's saying 7. DW. Okay. 6. 6 Asteri? 7. 8 with the 1 eaten. Right. There was 7 alive, but it was supposed to be 8. That's what I'm saying. They're supposed to be 8 because the 1 was gone, right?
Because the 7 are Ostris, Sophorus, Hesperus, Octorus, Polaris, Rigulus, and Cirrus. The first to be spoilers, okay?
Yeah.
The first to be killed by Apollyon. So
Okay.
No.
All right.
Confirmed.
All right.
Including the
MJ saying she's on a reread and she's saying 6. All right, so it's 6. All right. All right. Okay. Interesting. All right. But the 7 again. 7 pops up all over the time. All right. That's the first time 7 pops up, though. That's the first. All right. Sorry. Okay, where were we? 6, 7. Where? By the 7 High Lords being of yielding power, that legend claimed they could level buildings, break apart armies, and butcher you before you could blink. I didn't doubt it. No one had ever told me why humans chose to linger in our territories when so little space had been granted. Oh, thank you for the follow over on the Tiki on the UbiTube. Yeah, I appreciate that. Wow, thank you very much. Then there were other places like Prythian divided. Okay, 7 Lords. No one had ever told me why the humans chose to linger. Oh, and another follow over there. Wow, I appreciate that. What is going on? We got some follows happening everywhere. Let's go. What an amazing night. Getting to reread a cool story, getting some new followers, and right? This is, wow. All right, sorry. Why had humans chose to linger in our territories when so little space had been granted to us and we remained in such close proximity to Prythian? Fools, whatever humans had stayed here after the war must have been suicidal to have lived so close. Even with centuries-old trees between the mortals and fairy realms, there were rifts in the wards separating our lands, holes big enough for those lethal creatures to slip into our territories to amuse themselves with tormenting us. That was the side of Prythian that the children of the blessed never deigned to acknowledge. Perhaps a side of Prythian I'd soon witness my stomach turn. Live with him, I reminded myself, again and again and again. Live, not die. Though I suppose I could live in a dungeon, and though likely, lock me up and forget that I was there. Forget that humans needed things like food and water and warmth. I'm watching you, Lily. Oh, she laid down. Okay, sorry. Prowling ahead of me, the beast's horns spiraled towards the night sky, the tendrils of hot breath curling from his snout. We had to make camp at some point. The border of Prythian was days away. Once we stopped, I would keep awake for the entirety of the night and never let him out of my sight. Even though he'd burned my ash arrow, I smuggled my remaining knife in my cloak. Maybe tonight would grant me an opportunity to use it. But it was not my own doom, I contemplated as I let myself tremble into dread and rage and despair as we rode on. The only sound, snow crunching beneath the paws and hooves. I alternated between retching smugness at the thought of my family starving and thus realizing how important I was, and a blinding agony at the thought of my father begging in the streets, his ruined leg giving out on him as he stumbled from person to person. Every time I looked at the beast, I could see my father limping through town, peddling for coppers to keep my sisters alive. Worse, what Nesta might resort to in order to keep Elaine alive. She wouldn't mind my father's death, but she would lie and steal and sell anything for Elaine's sake, and her own as well. I took the way the beast moved, trying to find any weakness I could detect. What manner of fairy are you? I asked, the words nearly swallowed up by the snow and trees of the snow and trees of star-heavy sky. He didn't bother to turn around. He didn't bother to say anything at all. Fair enough. I'd killed his friend after all. I'd tried again. Do you have a name or anything to curse him by? Okay, Feyre and her little cursing. I love it. A huff of air that could have been bitter. Does it even matter to you, human? I didn't answer. He might as well changed his mind about sparing me. But perhaps I would escape before he decided to gut me. I would grab my family and we'd stow away on a ship and sail far, far away. Perhaps I would try to kill him, regardless of the futility, regardless of whether it constituted another unprovoked attack, just for being the one who came to claim my life. My life. When these fairies valued ours so little, the mercenary had survived. Maybe I could too. Maybe. I opened my mouth again to ask him for his name, but a growl of annoyance rippled through him. Annoyance rippled out of him. I didn't have a chance to struggle, to fight back, when a charged, metallic tang stung my nose. Exhaustion slammed down upon me, and blackness swallowed me whole. I awoke with a jolt and a stop at a horse secured by an invisible bonds. The sun was already high. Magic! That's what that tang had been. What was keeping my limbs tucked in light, preventing me from going for my knife? I recognized the power deep in my bones from some collective mortal memory and terror. How long had it kept me unconscious? How long had it kept me unconscious rather than speak to me? How long had it kept me unconscious? Yeah, okay. It fucking says that line twice. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? I just like that line is twice. Okay, sorry. I'm alive. Imbecile. Sorry. Gritting my teeth, I might have demanded answers from him. Might have shouted to where he lumbered ahead, heedless of me. But then chirping birds flitted past me. No, you cannot cat butt. No. You hairy ass cat butt. No cat butting. Don't drink. You definitely can't drink that. Good Lord, googly moogly girlfriend. Sorry. Where were we? Oh, yeah, the double line. How long had he kept me unconscious? How long had he kept me unconscious rather than speak to me? Gritting my teeth, I might have demanded answers from him, might have shouted to where we limbered ahead, heedless of me. But then chirping birds flitted past me, and a mild breeze kissed my face. I spied a hedge-bordered metal gate ahead. My prison, or my salvation. Hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I couldn't decide which. 2 days. It took 2 days from my cottage to reach the wall and enter the southernmost border of Prythian. Had I been in an enchanted sleep for that long? Bastard! The gate swung open without porter or sentry, and the beast continued through, whether I wanted to or not. My horse followed after him. What, baby? Wow. You got her? All right, folks, what a night. Let's get a good wheel spin. Hopefully we're going to end on a good one. I mean, they're all really good ones. They're all really good ones, but what around and around. Another, wow, we're getting a Oh, wow. All right, folks. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight here at Wise Beyond the Story. That was the first 5 chapters of A Court of Thorns and Roses, our night 1 of the reread. Woo! All right. I'm telling you, 5 chapters, it seems to be the way. All right. Really quick, we're going to give, where are you going? She's trying to do it again. I think she heard, Lily, girlfriend, what are we doing? Oh my Lord. All right, DW, my friend, for being the scribe for the night, you get a button, you get a button, you get a button. What would you like to go out with? Ooh. We need to fund Colt Land with, look, she says, for... All right, folks. My Tamlin mask. And yes, amazing job on the 40K likes tonight. I appreciate y'all. I know your fingers get tired from all the tapping, but I appreciate all of that. I appreciate everybody who has joined us and stopped by tonight. For everybody who donated and gave gifts and stuff, that is seriously, y'all don't have to do that. I appreciate that. The record for likes is 151K during Fourth Wing. 151K for Fourth Wing with 48 viewers is our max. I appreciate you stopping by just for that quick second. Yeah, that was a crazy one. Okay, so well, I mean, I was having pretty fun. So you got to all right, this is a question I had to ask. Oh, she just learned what a pinched nerve is?
She's like, what were you doing?
Mm-hmm.
She said, I was just petting my kitty, and all of a sudden I looked back, and then it just started hurting.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, baby, I know exactly what that is.
Okay. So they're wanting to know when we're continuing the read.
Well, I guess tomorrow, aren't you?
I mean, in what way are we talking here? Don't you have isn't there a meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, but she also has a hair appointment, so I'm going to that. I get to be tactful for that. It's fine.
Okay, I will tell you right now. We got 17 people in here. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Wise time. We will continue the story of A Court of Thorns and Roses, chapters 6 through 10. That's right. We'll be here live tomorrow night, folks. All right. Hopefully we'll be able to get some more people in here. Let's continue the story. We're just going to do it. You know what? We'll do it until we can't do it no more, folks. All right.
Maybe Wednesday you get a daytime.
Oh, who knows? We will see what's going on. All right, folks. I tell you what, we will see you tomorrow night. Join us then. We'll have a magical button on the way out. Thank you, Slasher. I appreciate you for joining us tonight and the follow. Hopefully we'll see you again. Good night, everybody. Alejandro, thanks, love. I hope you're having fun at home. MJ, I hope work's been given good. Yes. DW, you will always be the official scribe until you say you no longer want the job. All right. Thank you. Awesome, Alejandra. Thank you, DW. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. As always, thank you, and we will see you in the next one. Have a great night, everybody.